Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second game of the night. Apologies for the quick drop in draft. We had to do a bit of production wizardry behind the screens, but we are back for Cosmic Transcendence against Lost Nation. Cosmic Transcendence this time choosing blue side, this time banning out the Rel, leaving that Seraphine open immediately locked in for playmaster in that bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, not surprised. Again, it's a good flex pick, but most likely going to be bot lane, and it's just very hard to counterpick it. Plus, it just leaves less picks for CTR, like the Shen pick cannot be picked again, so just not looking good, honestly. Or the Braum.
Braum Seraphine locked in here, 1-2. I mean, it's a very defensive bot lane, right?
Very hard to kill, yes.
It does, as I said, that is maybe the lane that I think Cosmic Transcendence would have to attack if they were to look for an early game lead. I do think I favour them in that department, but Seraphine Braum is just such a neutralizer of a lane. It's going to make this game all about topside once again, unless of course Cosmic Transcendence offer a heavy scaler in the bot lane. Then it is sort of in Lost Nation's court to make something aggressive happen. They pick up this Tristana, a flex between that mid and bot. Tristana Maokai, deadly mid jungle duo as well.
Yeah, I mean, she's one of the most picked mid laners in the game right now, especially when you watch pro play or anything, but can also be flex bot lane. So, yeah, it's a very good pick here.
Yeah,
or CTI here.
Bit of a hyperscaler as well with that increased range. When you go for the Navora as well, the Palmer attack speed uptime. We'll have to see what Cosmic Transcendence look for here. Is it going to be... Ooh, a Blitzcrank.
Blitzcrank.
They're still holding this Trist Flex. That's what I was curious about. I had to blind pick top, which I didn't think they were going to do. Or choose to either hold the Trist Flex or pick support. I don't like this Blitzcrank pick. I think into Seraphine. I understand Blitzcrank into Seraphine, like, rationally. I understand the idea behind it. But I also think that Braum neutralizes a lot of what Blitz wants to do. Obviously, he can get in the way of all those hooks, eat them up with that Unbreakable. Braum can also Glacial Fissure in the middle of your team if you ult him in. If you hook him in. And Seraphine as well is vulnerable to the Blitzcrank, but can also spend a lot of time playing out of range of this Tristana Blitz, right?
Yeah, I mean, Braum has he can jump in front of the Seraphine to block the hook. And he's very hard to kill once he presses his shield that blocks incoming of like 20% damage, I believe. So it is not good pick here, I think, honestly. With the Jarvan being picked up, the Maokai Jarvan, most seen jungles in the entire game, I think, this entire tournament. So no surprise here. Plus, it's just very good with his EQ being up every 4 seconds. It's just very typical jungles I see here. Oh, with the Aatrox and GP banned, as you talked about in game 1. Wow, looks like they're favoring the top lane a little bit more in the second game.
You know what? I say good. I think Fish has earned that respect after the previous
Certainly
game.
after that first game. Certainly.
Vix's locked in here. I think Lost Nation have a really strong zoning comp, right? They can outrange Cosmic Transcendence pretty heavily. Now, of course, I think this Tristana will probably go mid into the Victor. Has some early lethality there. I think Cosmic Transcendence can look for something, but unless they pick something to really change it, to really get some engage going, maybe like an Ornn in the top there, I think they need to pick some sort of engage up there. I think Seraphine Victor Braum is just going to be so miserable to play against. Instead, it's the Sylas.
Sylas?
You're picking... Hold on. You're picking Sylas into Seraphine Braum Victor. That is, you know, respect to the confidence on the mid lane that for Cosmic
Martex here, but yeah, it's just...
Like, I mean, you won't have the same problem as last game, and I mean, Victor is actually a lot better matchup for the Sylas and the Slayer. Can get a lot more done, but I still think that unless you're getting a lot going on with this Maokai Sylas in the early game, Victor's just going to be able to put down so much zone control.
And then Gnar. Blind pick Gnar. I mean, Gnar's a very hard champion to counterpick, but at the same time, he's got good engage as well, so it's not he can help the comp a lot here, but it depends on what Lost Nation has for a counterpick to Gnar here. It could be very devastating in the laning stage if they got something very good for him.
I mean, they don't even need to counterpick. I think something like a tank in the top lane, like a Sion, even could do a whole lot of work. Just put more backbone on this team. Let Victor and Seraphine free fire in this game. But you know what else works to free fire in a game? Jace. Jace versus Gnar. Oh, I'm trying to think. I don't know my top lane matchups anywhere near as good as I know my bot lane ones, but I think Jace should get the better of him early on, and obviously without ranged Gnar with the shock blast sort of denies Gnar's strength as a ranged champion by outranging him.
Yeah,
I like this pick from Lost Nation. I think once again Lost Nation have got significantly better side of the draft here. They're lacking a little bit of consistent physical damage.
I
but
mean, I
even
think
against
Jace's pick was
Malphite.
great here because they got a lot of poke with Victor, Jason, Seraphine.
Mhm.
So CTR is going to have to immediately get into these team fights and start off without getting poked, which is very hard with all the range they have. And Jace is very good at just poking someone from 10,000 monitors away. So it's like it's very hard for him to stop him really. And he gets free farm in top lane because he does counter pick Gnar actually. So yeah, honestly a great pick here.
I
Love
mean,
it.
I saw some people in chat talking about the Camille pick. Camille's pretty good here as well. I mean, that gives you a lot of side lane pressure once you get
Yeah.
further split CTR. But I still think Jace is so on theme. I think Lost Nation have a comp with 5 champions that are pretty strong and are also entirely on theme, which at this sort of level of play is a goddamn miracle, right? You don't often see that. Meanwhile, Cosmic Transcendence, you got a lot of stuff going on. You've got Blitzcrank, you got Silas Gnar, you got some sort of wombo combo coming in. You got Big Engage with the Grasping Roots and the Maokai, but I feel like just cohesively their comp fits together just a little bit less well than Lost Nation. It relies on getting those early leads, right? The flips of this Blitzcrank trying to hook these champions that are in Fog of War, right? If Lost Nation are able to, secure that Fog of War advantage. I think that's something that's going to be really important actually throughout the game. Securing vision for both these teams. Blitzcrank loves to play off vision. Gnar loves to look for these flanks. But Seraphine, Victor, Jace love being off vision, firing off those long range skill shots from out of the enemy's retaliation range. We'll have to see if they can, fight their way in.
To go back into Camille, talk about Camille again. Yeah, I think Jarvan Camille is probably one of the most terrifying setups in the game because Camille locks them down when it's a free EQ or a free ultimate for Jarvan. And yeah, I think Camille is the only way to make that draft better. But honestly, Lost Nation has an extremely good draft again for game 2. And CTR needs to play this draft very, very well in these team fights in the mid game, honestly, to see if it will work out for them to get the TP flanks from Gnar and these good engages in general for the team fights. But honestly, I'd say Lost Nation is slightly favored in this draft. If you want my opinion,
I think Lost Nation are more than slightly favored. I think they have the draft advantage once again heading into this game too, and it was disgusting what they did with it in the previous game. We'll have to see if Cosmic Transcendence can bounce back. At least they've gone for something a little bit different here, even if they still have that Silas in the mid lane. We'll have to see if they can make it work. We're going to be throwing to just a couple of minutes break while we wait for Spectator Delay to take down. Don't go anywhere. Cosmic Transcendence looking to try and strike back against Lost Nation.
To hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, oh, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of a world that we defy. A soul reign of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last line. Hearing voices from afar, join the madness when the curtain falls. Risk it all, hold nothing back. Seize the day, we must attack. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of a world that we defy. A soul reign of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last we bring to fall the giants? Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we bring to fall the giants? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of the world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last light.
Hello everyone and welcome back onto the Rift. Lost Nation with the PokeCon looking to secure their lead 1-0 at the moment. Cosmic Transcendence after a, frankly, disastrous previous game. Looking to try and fight their way back in. They have Centaurs to do it. They got the Maokai. They got the Blitzcrank. Jon Phobel on the Gnar in maybe a better matchup in this top lane. We'll have to see. As we see here, Lost Nation looking for a cheeky invade on the top side, perhaps.
Maybe it's 5 stacking a bush and looking for an invade. Yeah, looks like it.
Ooh. Yeah, counter invade coming through, perhaps. Maybe suspecting, maybe just trying to catch somebody putting down the ward early on. Smart tactic, again, when you're against the Blitzcrank, not wanting to get separated off. I think that makes a lot of sense. But with nothing coming through, they're just going to reset, walk back to lanes, no action. Never mind. Spot on a ward. Bad timing there. Chips just takes the reset. Oh no. Oh no.
This is not good. This is not what you want to see after game 1.
I wonder if Cosmic Transcendence did that in the first game. Lost Nation looked at the tape, looked at what they do level 1, and just caught them out on the same exact maneuver. I need to go back and watch that, but huge congratulations from Lost Nation to smell out that ward put and find the play.
Yeah, I mean, they separated and John got caught by himself. Just not looking good after what happened game 1, especially in top lane. You don't want to be seeing that right away. Well, and it went to Jace as well, which he gets his early tier, which means his mana will get stacked up way faster than what it's supposed to. So it's a very good start for Fish here in the top lane.
Yeah, Fish. 1 kill already. Yeah, the tier obviously will give you a lot more poke potential onto this Nara and laning phase, right? You know, mana's not a combat stat, but if you use your entire mana pool, it kind of becomes one, right? It does count for extra spells being cast, and yeah, obviously
100%,
getting further towards that mana moon as well. Level 1 trade there onto Yon Phobal. Took the boomerang, I think. It's fairly even. Yon Phobal opting for that Doran's Blade rather than the Doran's Shield as well, I think is kind of interesting. Speaks to this player's aggressive mindset. Looking to try and tussle, not just going to take this poke from Fish. You know, on the bot lane, Hook connects onto Corval. Casado slowed down. Yeah, and what are you going to do there? It's level 1, Blitz, Trist. Even at level 2, right? I don't think you ever kill Corval. And Playmassive's just going to play so far back in this lane. The Blitzcrank hooks are hardly going to be in range. I think maybe you've got to look to push in and dive this lane. Maybe that's your only angle, but you're playing Blitz Trist. Your dive isn't as good as something like an Alistair Nautilus or like a Callista plus X, but it looks like Pingu here looking for the flash engage, has found Playmassive. Flash knock up the dive onto the AP. Carry comes through. Kassar finds the kill. Meanwhile, we see here Yon Phobal, Meganar knocked back towards Fish's turret in a whole heap of trouble. Flash away. Yon Phobal knocking the flash after him, knowing Chips could be in the area.
Good respect for Yon Phobal here to respect the jungler coming into his lane, but Fish almost got solo killed there, honestly, if he was to flash after. And in full bot lane, great gank from Lord Pingu here, but it's very, very good, honestly, for ZTR to play very good early, different from last game. So it's looking very good. But he's getting invaded here, so that is not looking good. I mean, that's what happens if you give up jungle early pressures. You get invaded on the other side of the map if the jungle decides not to jungle. To invade.
Decides not to look for the gank. Yeah, it's pretty hard.
It's not
health bars the way they are. Congratulations to Pingu to actually find something on the board. It is a 1-for-1 in the end. Not 1-for-1 in the end of this game, right? Getting something back before Transcendence after that early invade went so disastrously. We do see here Chips though forcing. Well, keeping a close eye on Pingu, forcing them back into their jungle. We see once again Mimi Slime with the push here on Mirtex on West in the mid lane.
I mean, Tristana certainly is the win con here, so getting her kills early, making the scaling speed increase is very good for them. And shutting down the Seraphine early is very good.
Oh,
Nara's going to go mega here.
Yon Phobal will go mega in this top lane trade. Fish so very careful. No mana left. But Chips is on the raid. No jump. Stun won't connect for Yon Phobal. The boulder toss will, but it's not enough. Flash away. No flash for Fish. Surely will fall. Pingu picks up the kill. Cosmic Transcendence are finding more on the top side of the map. Nars base stats are just too high. The hop off the minion. The flash, flag, and drag will connect. Secure Chips an escape route as well. Teleport now coming in for Fish. Pingu trying to take out Chips before they can make it there. Sapling down in the bush. But I don't think Pingu can stick around here. In the end, it's just a 1-for-1 on this top side. Teleport now coming in for Nardo. Shouldn't result in too much. In the end, Cosmic Transcendence, once again, punching back. Totally different story in this early game.
Yeah, what a great start. I mean, it's a shame that Maokai here had to get the kill instead of the Gnar, but again, it's just great, good plays, good counter gank for Pingu here. And, oh no.
Oof, Fish.
Bit of a rough trade there.
Yeah, very aggressive on this trade. At least Yon Phobal, obviously similar on stats at the moment. But Gank now coming in for Chips. No Mega this time. Just going in with the Q to the skies from Fish. Oh, dodging that Shock Blast.
Well played.
Yon Phobal will survive. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, Extra looking for something on to Playmassive. Hook will connect, Ignite will land. Jump under the turret. Kassar picks up that kill. But tanking that extra turret shot will fall in the 1-for-1 to Braum.
Well played for the bot lane there. Good hook back for the Seraphine, but it's a shame Kasa had to get another tower shot in the last there. But it was a good trade because Kasa kills the Seraphine, but Braum kills him. So honestly, looking good. Oh, Murktide TP top lane and got a trade kill. Well played to him.
Yeah, finding that angle for teleport does mean they'll lose out quite a lot on this mid lane, right? They don't. Mimi Slime won't have to use teleport. Wave, I think. Maybe it didn't crash, but Mirtex does manage to find the kill on the return. Kudos to them. This game is a lot more evenly paced in its bloodiness. 2-kill advantage Cosmic Transcendence, but gold is dead even. Mostly thanks, I think, to these CS leads accruing across the map. 10 in the mid lane, 10 in the top lane, 10 in the bot lane as well. jungle lead also 10. It's just across the map, 10s. Meanwhile, though, Miratex looking for something onto Mimi Slime. Not gonna find too much.
No, Pingu looking for an invade here. Not just looking for a ward. Looking for this dragon pressure to try to get set up and maybe threaten the dragon here. Very doable, to be honest, without ultimates on the board. Braum Seraphine ultimates can change a fight completely, so maybe they're trying to look for the dragon before the fight can occur with them.
Yep, certainly something you need to be careful for. Meanwhile, we've seen Murtex so just dump this Victor on the wave, maybe looking down to try and contest. We see Chips starting up the Drake themselves though, but they are pincered here. This is a real overforce. Knockup comes through. That's just a free kill.
Yeah.
I mean, you walked over the scuttle. You walked over the scuttle. You know that you're on vision. Oh, whatever.
Yeah, but even had no pressure in both of his lanes, so I just don't know what he was thinking there. Not thinking about the vision or anything. Especially since Pingu was seen bot side just a moment ago. It's just, I don't know what was the thought process behind that. But well played for CTR to punish it. And to get the dragon here. Infernal Dragon is very good for their team, for Silas and Tristana to scale even harder and do more damage later. Which is not a good dragon to give up either.
Not a good dragon to give up. Not a good momentum to give up either. Giving another kill over. It's now 6 and 3. Gold still even from these CS leads. Lost Nation just playing the map that little bit better. But yeah, with that dragon on the board, it does feel like Cosmic Transcendence have so much more of an angle into this game. Focus on Kassar, 3-1 and 0. If we can have a look at the gold production, we'll see, I think, most of it, yeah. Highest gold in the game. Second highest gold, actually. Fish has got a massive CS lead in the top lane. Second highest gold in the game. Jon Vobel cannot be jumping forwards like that. Flash forwards by Fish. 1 auto, 2 auto. Steps up just that little bit too much. And Jon Vobel ends up falling. But yeah, as I was saying...
Fish is having an exceptional series here. Playing so well in these solo lanes, getting solo kills. Wow.
I mean, you say this is an exceptional series for Fish. This is a pretty normal series for Fish. This guy is just maybe the best top laner in the EAL at the moment. Consistently performs no matter the matchup. This guy's an old veteran as well, as I said. Remember being around on the 99 woodcutting days. You know, just such a good, so much veterancy, so much experience in these 5v5s. So many lanes played out in this competitive setting, and recently they've just been unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, he's showing why Lost Nation is standing in like where they did. I mean, he's playing so good in these lanes though. One exception, and it looks like his champ pool is very good as well. So many champions, he's very terrifying and they have to respect ban. It's a very hard player to beat if you have to ban so many champions. It's very, very terrifying. Oh, lands the hook on the Seraphine.
Oh, well, you can't be flashing away from those. Seraphine gets hooked up, but Kassar very, very close to getting stunned up. Winter's Bite will not connect. Kassar will run for the hills. If we can have a look at the item completion quickly, production. Never mind, we see an engage here by Extra. This time, Braum blocks the hook for the Seraphine, which is going to be a lot better fight for Lost Nation. There comes the encore gank from Chips as well. Not even needed. Kassar will get stolen away by the jungler. Flash, smite, Winter's Bite. Corwell picks up the kill.
Wow, what a good punish there for Lost Nation. Punishing just hooking a Braum, which is just not what you want to do at this stage of the game. And yeah, just a good gank in general. Just good punish overall. Plus the Seraphine ult extended from their own teammates, so it managed to connect Casa there and just leads into a kill. Again, as I said earlier, it's just two ultimates that are very terrifying to fight in 2v2 or in team fights. Just very strong.
Despite the fact the kills are 6-6, the gold lead is 3,500. I mean, the Herald play will obviously help out with that, getting those extra plays. But look who's here for the gank. It is Pingu. Chips pushed onto the turret. Corwell is in the area. Dive forwards onto Kassar. Braum Unbreakable doing so much work, but still the ADC will pick up the kill. Corwell now going to pay for it with their life as well. Jump reset maybe onto Play Massive. In the end, it's just the support shut down over to the Trist. Help even out that gold a little bit. Now it's just 2,000.
Yeah, great punish from Pingu there. Actually just came in and slowed it down so Casa could jump in, get there, and get the shutdowns.
Mega Gnar not online in time. Fish with another solo bolo in this top lane. This time, Jon Vobel did get counterpicks. We can't say, oh, you are just... it's the counterpick not working out, but it's just... What do you even do into this, man? Fish on this top lane, just so exceptionally skilled. Maybe the one shining point, or biggest shining point even for Lost Nation at the moment.
Yeah, certainly. He's certainly brought it to every game I've watched him. He's just doing it again. This guy is playing exceptionally, and looks like it's not going to calm down anytime soon, apparently. This guy is just bringing it to every single game he plays.
It's not even just the kills, man. It's like a 20 CS lead as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 3 plates, 20 CS lead, and yeah, 3 kills. Just so much gold.
He's like 3/4 of a Jhin. 3 kills,
Yeah.
30 CS, or 20 CS, whatever. 20 CS, 3 plates.
Wow.
Actually, make it 30, make it 30, make it 30. But no, I mean, I'd still like to see Kassar maybe move towards this mid lane, right? I think Mitrex does function a little bit better on the side lanes as this Sylas. I mean, Trist obviously can knock down these turrets very, very quickly. But with this static shift, they can get so much done in these mid plays. Extra, so very close to getting caught. But
Yeah, I
Trist
mean, these
just
later
not
fights are
so
going to get a bit more terrifying because these Jace Qs, if they land on Casa, he's just going to get one shot or half health at least. If his Jace is this fed, it's just not going to look good at this rate. But in terms of bot sides, it's looking good here. They're trying to look for a Force of a Dragon, maybe, for Lost Nation. They're standing on a ward, so maybe CTR can do something
This
here.
time, though, they're a lot better positioned, right? Top laner has a massive health advantage, teleport advantage for Fish as they find the solo kill onto Yon Phobal. Will they go
Jarvan.
for the TP on the bot lane? Meanwhile, Jarvan diving onto Kassar, gonna get burst out on the backline. Mitrex will find play massive. That's 2 carries dead already. Will end up paying for it with their life. Mimi Slime still alive. Fish finally does teleport in, finds the kill onto the Sylas. Oh, it's a bit of a slaughter. Thanks to that solo kill, in the end, it's a 2 for 2, but Lost Nation will pick up the Drake.
Wow, this Jace coming in, sweeping up. Murtex did so much getting into the back line, killing 2 people, and it's just a shame that didn't work out for him. Fish came in and just swept them up. That's very unfortunate. And that's a Lost Nation and a Hextech Dragon for them. All looking good.
All looking good.
Another 3k gold lead. Wow, at least it's not 20k gold at 14 minutes this time. This is done a little bit better this time.
So, yeah, once again, 3k gold lead, 10 kill lead, but I think it's a lot more even in terms of map state as well. Like, top lane is still a pretty big hole, but it's not like mid lane's getting absolutely caved in. It's not like Mimi Slime's been able to transition their advantage down towards the spot lane. Push. But still, I do want to point out Mimi Slime has done something a lot more scaling this time. Has had a very, very free laning phase. 1, 0, and 2. Luden's picked up already. But Chips, when you engage like that, you're giving the kill over to the mid lane's opposing number. Chips, so very low. Flash away though from the Gnar. Yon Phobal forced to run for the hills. It looks bad for Lost Nation there, but Chips just about able to make that way out.
Yeah, very close there. If he just flashed a little bit later, he'd have probably been dead there. But well played to the Jarvan, managed to get the flash out. And Lost Nation almost turned that. Very well played to them. Looking at CCR, looking for the Rift Herald here. There's a bonus 300 gold, plus it'll put pressure onto the towers later. So hopefully they can get it here. But Lost Nation looking to contest it.
Lost Nation, yeah, trying to find this fight. Long range poke coming out. You can see the advantage of this competition. Yon Phobal on flank, but is many Gnar. Not much health. Flash away. Knocked back. The engage is too strong. Shut down onto Fish in the top side. And that's the power of a Blitzcrank Maokai. Right? Maokai just ulting forwards with his grasping roots. Flash away from that W, but it just wasn't enough to make your way out. Fish ends up falling, but now Drake is in control of Lost Nation. Half health bars on everyone on Cosmic Transcendence, but one Blitz hook could change everything. Glacial Fish is stolen away. The poke from Mimi Slime is just too intense. That's a lot of cooldowns you use to pick off just the top laner for Lost Nation. Cosmic Transcendence forcing their way in. Herald down solo, stolen away by Lord Pingu, but now will be the sacrifice. First one to fall. Chips is on the prowl. Massive, massive encore onto 2. The Cataclysm flashed away from it. You can't flash the flag and drag. Double kill over to Jarvan. In the end, Lost Nation do lose the Herald, but they pick up a couple of kills for their troubles. Even though Fish got caught out at the beginning of that fight, didn't even make it back on the respawn. They're going to pick up this mid lane tier 1 turret as well.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great... Well, Pingu walked in there, got the Rift Herald. Great steal, but it just didn't work out afterwards. Couldn't get out and safely, and just got hit by 2-man Seraphine ult. Just unfortunate, very, very, very unfortunate, and great, very well played from Lost Nation here.
Extremely well done. Extremely well done.
They are proving from both games that their team fighting is very, very. They're playing very well as a team. Coordination is very, very great.
They've shown that they can play well in lanes. They've shown. I think, as I said, Lost Nation. When I look at Lost Nation, when I see someone who only plays mages in the bot lane and picks stuff like Zyra on B2, I never thought I'd say Lost Nation is a very intelligent team, but they clearly are. The way they play out these fights, I mean, obviously that helps with all the veterancy coming out from Fish and Chips. But the way they play out these fights, the way they play out these mid-game map movements, and the way they play out the team fights as well, it shows that they know how to play out their compositions, they know what their win conditions are, they know what their win conditions for fights are. And it's really, really impressive to see, especially at this sort of level of play.
Yeah, I mean, this is exceptional gameplay, honestly. Certainly, like, the only things that I can criticize is about getting caught a couple of times, but again, it's just nothing really to criticize. They're just playing exceptional games here. Last 2 games. Very, very well played. And as Victor is getting to the scaling now, so it's going to become a bit of a threat. It's just threats around the board now.
Actually, if we can have a quick look at the gold difference in the mid lane. Victor quietly built themselves up a 1.3k gold lead here. I mean, there's obviously the loud gold lead in the top lane, the Fish over on Verbal as well, Jungle as well. The only place where Lost Nation are missing out are on this bot lane with Play Massive, but that's kind of just... I mean, you look at Lost Nation, you know they're going to be playing for that top side. I think they've got the gold in the right places, they've got a gold lead, the map state is still perfectly fine for them, and Cosmic Transcendence have a harder and harder time playing out these fights as the game goes on. You know, it's not as much of a lead. You're definitely feeling a lot better about this game for Cosmic Transcendence than the last one.
100%.
But I still think Lost Nation are in the driver's seat, so it's on Kassar to knock them out of it. It's Cosmic Transcendence, and including Kassar.
Oh, they're stacking in the bush here, looking for the Victor potentially.
Oh, it's read by Mimi's side, but the hook still comes through. Teleport comes down immediately. Fnatic Death Bush. Oh no, that's disastrous. That's the cancel on that. Jump away by Kassar. Seraphinox connects onto none, but it doesn't matter. That's your main carry dead. Cosmic Transcendence running for the hills. I like the initial pick, but once again, it's one pick into a team fight win by Lost Nation.
Yeah, I mean, Jarvan managed to collapse. I mean, Victor did half his health bar instantly, and Jarvan punished the other half just to a kill. Really, just unfortunate. It's not even unfortunate, just well played to Lost Nation, punishing such a interesting tactic to be so close to them. I don't know. It's very, very well played to Lost Nation, and it just ends up into a dragon. So yeah, it's very well played from Lost Nation. Not looking good for CTR here, with the gold lead increasing to nearly 6k here.
Yeah.
And the Baron just on the horizon here.
Baron just on the horizon as well. 6k gold lead. It's just choking them out, man. As I said, it's like Cosmic Transcendence will find one good pick before a fight, but one good pick does not a team fight make. It feels like they don't know what to do. It's like the SpongeBob meme of never thought I'd get this far, right?
Yeah.
Every single time they find a pick, they just get routed in the rest of the fight. Re-engage here by Mitrex, stunned up, taken down, a double kill.
Wow.
Massive re-engage on the turret, chips on this job, and is just too strong. Flash away, Lord Pingu will not be enough to save you. Corwell stunning up, flash forwards, Fish catching that kill for themselves. Mimi Slime as well, finding the ace on the top side.
Well played to Lost Nation.
Then again, commendations to Cosmic Transcendence for holding on for as long as they do. But Lost Nation, just oof, 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 oof.
Oh, looks like the jungler disconnected here.
Yeah, Ocean. Ocean. I realized I forgot who Chips actually was because I changed his name, but Ocean. It's another very, very storied player. I remember actually. Now we're in this pause. I remember it is Ocean. I remember some great anecdotes about Ocean actually. They play. I think they. I don't want to say they played for 99 World Cup because it feels like it's the only team I can remember. But I'm 90%. No, they played on Acceleration. I think back in the day. I remember. I think it was my first game cast was Ocean playing Cosmic Xin Zhao. First game cast of the year. One of my first game casts ever. And I think he absolutely run it. He took a flip every single fight. Like he got a lead early on and just flipped the game constantly and ended up losing at the end. I got to say, massive grow up, massive maturity coming out from this player, right? And you can see the mechanical skill is still very much there for him. cancelling that jump away by Kassar, finding that re-engage on that bot lane turret dive. Ocean, so very impressive, and obviously showing that maybe you need to get this guy off Jarvan. But it feels like, as much as Cosmic Transcendence made some good draft adaptations heading into this game, they're also, it feels like they're running out of adaptations they can make, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's still
they've only got
flaws.
3 bans. It feels like you got to ban 6 things to really put Lost Nation in a troubling spot, right? You're either giving Mimi Slime a great match for mid lane, you're giving Play Massive comfort either way, or you're giving Fish just a massive top lane value. We can see what he can do even with that R5 counter pick. No matter what you ban away from him, he'll still find a way to smash through their opposing number. As we do have a reconnect now from Ocean in this jungle. Game should be starting up very shortly again. I think it's so difficult for Cosmic Transcendence to find a way back in. We've seen them, as we said, we've seen them find these picks in these team fights. Congratulations to them on those picks, but they just don't know how to play out the fights afterwards. They don't have that same sort of intelligence. It feels like Cosmic Transcendence has always been a team based a little bit around hand stiffing their opponents. I think about their most interesting plays. I think about their best plays in previous seasons as well, not just these ones, were when they were able to find these massive team fight hands outplays. But it just feels like the way they're set up, the way the game is set up, they're not in the position to do that. They kind of blow everything at once and then can't close it out.
I mean, the biggest problem looks like, you can just notice, is Tristana's farm, sadly, is not looking great at the stage it should be at this stage. So it looks like Tristana's ahead, but it's actually not even that ahead, to be honest with you. And Lost Nation can start looking around, warding this Baron and putting threat to it after that great 5v5 they just said, or 4v4 into a 1v1. It's just not looking good for CTR here, with the massive gold lead creeping up to nearly 10k here.
10k gold lead. A lot more quiet this game, but once again, Lost Nation, dread it, run from it. Domination will still come through. And now they do have a lot easier time sieging turrets this draft, I do want to point out. They have a lot more range time. They had a little bit of trouble closing out the game previously, but I want to say also, matching Mimi Slime into Yon Phobal here, it's just...
He's dodging everything from.
He's got the moves, man.
Oh.
It's
he's really dancing on him.
It feels bad to just talk about how he broke Yon Phobal's ankles. Now Fish is gonna break his spine, smash down with the hammer, dominating. It's never a good sign.
If they catch Pingu, it's gonna be a Baron.
Oh my lord! If you mean when they catch Pingu, he is dead. Mimi Slime with another kill. Baron's certainly going to be started up. Kassar trying to find something on the backside into Play Massive, realizing Seraphine's over pushing this mid lane. Reset on the jump. Charmed up under the... Oh, no.
Bit too forceful. He's looking for a play to change the game here, but it's just not looking like it.
No
Diving
claims.
a Seraphine is never a good option.
It's so incredibly sad to see. It's a Baron over to Lost Nation, and that play from Kassar reminds me a little bit of what they started doing towards the end of the first game. These desperation plays, these low percentage odd plays, trying to find anything back, just throwing out haymakers, but knocking themselves out in the process. And now Baron's in the back pocket of Lost Nation. This 1-3-1 comp. Yon Phobal can't match anyone on sides. It's a 3-level advantage to both the mid laner and the top laner over Yon Phobal. 2-level advantage over Mirtex. Lost Nation's just been playing the map so much better, be able to find these teamfight wins even when they're in these 4v5 scenarios. And 3 lanes of pressure is just unmatchable.
Yeah. Looks like for a 3-2 push here.
Looks like Pingu's dead.
Oh, Pingu's dead again.
You can't be farming your jungle there. It's not your jungle. Baron buff.
It's not your jungle anymore. Yeah.
Tier 2 turret in the bot lane will end up falling extra. The target now taken down, flashed away from. Will live just a little bit longer, Chips. That was a weird flag and drag interaction, but maybe good for Lost Nation. They didn't manage to find their way out. Yon Phobal tickling Chips. Corval, though, maybe call that bot lane jungle without a paddle. Do you manage to get over a free kill?
A little bit aggressive here.
That's a bit of an overforce. Oh, from the silence will connect onto one, but Mimi Slime with the damage there. It looks like it's just going to be a sweep. I was never worried for a second. Lost Nation surge onto the tier 3 bot lane turret where games are so often lost, but they win it this time.
Who needs winions?
Barons in, pushing in. 3 dead for the next 30 seconds. All you've got are 2 tanks to try and clear out this wave. So much turret damage here from Lost Nation. 1 will fall, 2nd will go down shortly, and the 2nd game will go over to Lost Nation. It looked a lot better for CTR in this early game, despite perhaps some top lane leads, but in the end, the prowess of the team fights, the prowess of this map movements of Lost Nation ends up securing them this victory in game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, well played to these guys. Lost Nation putting a great show for the last 2 games and putting on game point here for number 3. Can they win the series in this next game? We'll have to see in the next draft, honestly. It should be very interesting.
It feels like Cosmic Transcendence were 1 step closer to a solution, I think, in terms of the game, in terms of macro. But they've only got 1 more game to figure it out. That's the scary thing. I really hope they've got something to come out swinging in this game 3. I watched the LEC, as I said. This is the scenario Mad Lions were in. They got 2 more games off their opposing number after they went down 0-2. We'll have to see if Lost Nation can pull off the same sort of miracle, can pull off the closeout, deny the miracle. The Cosmic Transcendence can pull off the same sort of miracle as we head into a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We're back in just a couple of minutes. Hello everyone and welcome back to the draft. Once again, we're dropped in hot. Players have ADHD, they want to get on with this, and I don't blame them. Cosmic Transcendence want to keep this momentum going. Well, they want to try and break the momentum of Lost Nation. Lost Nation want to keep it going. We see Ezreal first pick here for CTR. Bans coming through. We see a Rel off the table, Vlad and Seraphine.
Seraphine off the table. Indeed.
Mhm. Interesting. That means the Aatrox is once again back on the menu for Lost Nation if they so desire it. Nautilus picked into the Ezreal is one of the better engaged supports into that champion, if only because of the point and click ultimate, right? I also want to point out.
I mean,
go
that
on.
is true. I mean, the Ezreal is a very interesting variation from CTR, playing
Mhm.
something more rangy since they lacked the range in the last game. And Ezreal is also a good answer into the Jarvan, being able to just dodge out most of Jarvan's engage with
true.
his double flash.
You can't have the Arcane Shift cancelled by the Jarvan knockup, right? As we saw happen in that Jungle River fight.
I mean, yes. Also, you can just Arcane Shift out of the Jarvan ult, which does no damage.
That's the other point. So yeah, Ezreal a lot more safe, but Jarvan Nautilus will always put a lot of spread down, especially when that Jarvan's being piloted by Chips, who's had an absolute barn burner of a series, or should I say ocean. Viego. Ooh, that's interesting. Lord Pingu, I remember being quite the Viego player. Am I correct?
Yes. Viego is also a very good pick actually, because he brings in more mobility, which plays into the Ezreal and into the Ahri, being able to go in when needed, but also to kite back with his Shroud and his W and his ultimate, with the Ahri Viego combo being very deadly when picking out solo champions and in the 2v2 as well, because of the Viego resets, if they get a kill.
Yeah, I mean, if they find a kill, there's a lot more explosive. Well, it's the same amount of explosivity on the side of Cosmic Transcendence. So they picked the Viego R. It's just a disgusting mid jungle combo. Orianna, something that can play at range, something that's a little bit more safe than this combo, but still can be vulnerable, right? Viego R, this 2v2 scrapping in the early game, it's a lot better than the Silas that we've seen twice now for Mirtex on West. I think a lot more agency, a lot more safety as well into
that's definitely. I mean, Mirtex has been performing better on these ranged casters rather than the Silas, but the Silas also wasn't really in a very good spot to shine in both of these games. But the Orianna, Jarvan, and Nautilus combo is just a very strong team fight tool. It seems like LN is looking more for those team fights, especially around the dragons, which they excel at.
Yep. I think Lost Nation, they sell in the laning phase, they sell all these team fights. So, Yuumi banned away here by Lost Nation. Ezreal Yuumi is a bit of a classic combination. Braum taken off the table as well. No defensive pivot there. Zyra locked in. I'm surprised that wasn't. I'm actually shocked Cosmic Transcendence banned 280 carries here. If you'd done at least a little bit of scouting on Lost Nation, you would know the Play Massive doesn't play these 80 carries. Instead, the Zyra is slammed down. Nautilus Zyra, very, very similar to the Rel Zyra, can be very, very explosive on these bot lane plays. Karma, though, Ezreal Karma can outrange, can put poke down, maybe look to contest Nautilus Zyra in this other game. And we have seen Kassar have some good games. We have seen Extra have some good games as well in the spot lane.
And the Aatrox being picked up just to deny the LN Aatrox. That's very interesting.
John Fovel. That's a lot has been spilled. A lot of pixels have been spilled about Jon Fogel's ego. Picking up Aatrox themselves, pointing to Fish and being like, yeah, I can play this better than you. I know how to make this work. You don't have a counter pick. But you did have a counter pick prepared. Kled is picked up a notoriously good match up into the Aatrox. We saw it in the LEC, I think. We saw G2 absolutely demolish Mad Lions with this counter pick. Aatrox couldn't do anything in these games. It was because it was BDS. It was BDS because they beat Adam with Kled. But anyway, this Kled super strong into the Aatrox. Look at the team comps holistically though. I think Lost Nation have a little bit less synergy than they have in previous drafts. Right, they got a lot of engaged Zyra, Nautilus,
If
but
we-
Oriana Pools
yes.
actually they have got a pretty
Yes.
good wombo combo going between Zyra, Oriana, Nautilus, and Jarvan.
I mean, if we look at the synergies, I mean, the synergy being with, I mean, they look for the wombo combos like Zyra, Oriana, Jarvan, Nautilus. They just look down to like they look for the Nautilus or Jarvan engage with the Cataclysm to lock them in, for Zyra's Thorns to shine, or for Oriana's Shockwave to push them all together, and the Kled just being another aggressive engager with his ultimate, which just allows to have LN that mobility to join into these fights. It's going to be very interesting to see how this will play out. But Cosmic Transcendus picking the Ezreal, picking the Viego, picking the Ahri, picking the Karma, all champions that can just walk out of it. They can just disengage if they want to. And this is with the Aatrox being on a sideline and being able to join in, they certainly picked a very comfortable combo or a comfortable comp to play against LN, even if LN's draft looks so scary with the wombo combo potential.
I think you talk about the wombo combo being scary. The scariest thing for me for Lost Nation is on this side lane. We've seen Fish just demolish Sean Fogle on the sides. Now they've got one of the scariest counter picks of the game with the Kled into the Aatrox. Sean Fogle, once again, not picking these tanks, playing these carries, sort of slamming it down on the table and requiring Fish to find counter pick, which she did with this Kled. I think it's something that could explode on the side lanes and it could burst this game wide open, despite all that CTR have going for them, which is a lot more, I think, than in previous games. I think they have found their footing just that little bit better. But we'll have to see if it's enough. Can Kled run away with this game in the top lane? Because CTR be able to find these picks with the Viego, Ahri, Ezreal, Karma in these fights? Will the wombo combos come through from Lost Nation? And will they punch their way to the EAL finals? We'll have to find out in just a couple of minutes. We're going to be sorry, so a quick break while we wait for Spectator Delay to take down. Don't go anywhere.
we bring to fall the giants.
Hello everyone and welcome back on to the Rift. Lost Nation looking to close this series out. Cosmic Transcendence fighting for their lives on blue side. Maybe their best draft yet. Best chance going into this game, but it's all about execution.
I mean, indeed it is. Indeed it is. We see LN just with their signature Vombo combo setup, playing against a more team fight oriented comp from CTR, being hopefully able to show off their individual skills since CTR's comp needs skill to pull off.
This time it's Cosmic Transcendence stacking up as 5. They had that bad experience on the top side of the map. Do not want to repeat because it's Nautilus on the enemy team. Corval might want to look for an engagement instead. Yeah, it's just going to be a 5-point start for Lost Nation. This time, for the first time,
I mean, yes.
no early jungle action.
I mean, this is it's a very good thing to just take the game a bit easier. Like, take it easy, try to play it out in a more slow-paced fashion, since we've seen that in these early fights, in these early game engagements, a lot of the games are being decided, be it on the mental side or be it on the in-game side.
Yeah. I think Cosmic Transcendence have a little bit of a mental... I think, obviously, mental advantage is going to be able to Lost Nation here, right? I think Cosmic Transcendence are very much on the back foot. Though, as I said, they did do a lot better last game than they did in the first game. They might have built up that momentum. I do want to point out, but it's interesting Kassar opting once again for the Ghost on Ezreal. Went for the Ghost on Tristana in the previous game. Maybe Cleanse would have been able to find that dive on to play massive in that mid lane. As you see here, you know,
The
just these
two
two teams,
supports just
they're Jade
dancing
chilling. They're
in
Jade
the
chilling.
river.
You know, when you are a Karma, that's a very dangerous game to play with the Nautilus. I think now have actually gone back to laning. It's actually, I think, very advantageous to play Massive and Corval that they sort of took sting out of Cosmic Transcendence's level 1. Ezreal Karma just deals so much damage and none of that came through. In this game, I also think it's really important to keep an eye on this top lane. As I said in the draft itself, Fish on this Kled, counterpicking their own main. John Fogel picking up that Aatrox themselves. Level 2 advantage hit, Bear Trap on the
And we
rope, pulling
see-
back the play.
And we see just this dish out of damage. Aatrox has no counterplay to this explosive engage from the Kled with the healing reduction. We can just see how disgusting it is to play against that as a caster like Aatrox, who's more reliant on his skill shots landing than his auto attacks.
Yeah, and I mean, the big thing about Aatrox is he kind of doesn't like it when... He likes when people are coming into him. He doesn't like it when people are directly underneath him, which Kled, with his horse charge, whatever it's called, with this charge as he can be at all times. Bear Trap on the rope as well, obviously cutting into Aatrox's healing means the trade backs are so much less effective. Meanwhile, in the bot
And we
lane,
see Kled and Jarvan moving down to the mid lane, they were first looking for an invade, but Viego clear is just so much faster than the Maokai clear, which means that they're not gonna catch Pingu this time.
yeah, but not this time. Still there to support in the mid lane, forcing out the flash from Pingu on that gank. Had to, try to play flash, tried to catch out Mimi Slime. Wolf's 3 flashes actually got blown by both mid laners and the jungler for Cosmic Transcendence. I think that's still good for... That's probably still good, I think, for Cosmic Transcendence, actually, because they can look for a replay onto this Orianna, who is now very vulnerable. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Fish and Ocean looking to get some more work done onto Yom Phobal, forced off the horse. But Fish obviously will be able to get their health back once they keep hitting onto Yom Phobal in this lane.
And yes, but now John.
Oh
John
no,
Fogel
this
has
is an overcommittal from John Phobal. Courage comes through, dash in, chains will not connect, pull back on that Bear Trap on the road, the ignite, the flash to follow, first blood to Fish in the top lane.
Now, if
overpour.
Aatrox had Ignite, this could have worked. But sadly, we don't see that aggressiveness and the flash on the Kled, on the flash ignite on the Kled, just killing any hopes of this engagement going through.
Yeah, and Fish once again, yeah, very heads up use of the summoners, realizing that they have to try and put the Aatrox down early on. That's why Kled's power really shines, getting these leads, snowballing into the mid game. And one kill will certainly help out with that. Meanwhile, all three junglers are on the bot, or both junglers in a 3v3 on the bot side. Kassar kiting away. Corwell will be the first target, but answered back on the AD carry. There comes the possession, but Lord Pinku can't get out of the Nautilus. Chips doing so much more work in this fight. Play Massive trying to get an extra set of rotations down. Knockup connects onto Extra, but Pingu picks up the kill, now possessing the Zyra in the end. Cosmic Transcendence come out ahead heavily in this bot lane play, looking for that third kill. Chips kiting for their life, so low, but will not fall. In the end, it's just a 2-for-1 in favor of Cosmic Transcendence.
And here we see the possessions from Viego just making this engagement so much easier. Possessing the Nautilus, being able to tank that damage from the Zyra, being able to hit this illegal hook from my point of view. And top lane just dishing out some more damage, trying to get Fish a bit lower to be able to engage back, but with the rage bar this high, it's not gonna look good.
Yeah.
Murtax moving up with Orianna ghosting, not ghosting, but hovering.
Yeah, but it's so
And
dangerous
it
to die
seems like
prepared.
that. Indeed, and it seems like that Elen is gonna pick up the first dragon.
Yeah, first Drake going over to Lost Nation. I do want to point out, I think it's the first time in this series we're not seeing a Lost Nation gold advantage in this game. It's only about 400 gold in favor of Cosmic Transcendence, but that's exactly the sort of leads you need to be finding. Once again, leads down towards the spot lane, but Pingu has a little bit more on the belt, has a lot more agency on this Viego than something like the Maokai as well. Reset City could come through, especially when, if you think about Lost Nation's weaknesses once again, it has been, I don't want to just keep ragging on them, but it has been the spot side, it has been finding picks on to people like Play Massive. One pick can absolutely tear a fight open for a Viego, right? Lord Pingu, if they find that reset, can get that second Heartbreaker out in the fight, can totally turn things around. Looking for a gank now onto this bot side, tether through, rooted up, burst, down, Play Massive the victim, Heartbreaker flashed away from, the Grasping Roots come through, but Play Massive is not long for this. Well, Corwell will make their way out, but Play Massive will end up falling to Kassar.
And the
Auto
kill
comes
goes
through.
on Kassar.
Meanwhile,
Top
the top
being-
lane, once again, we can see these sort of scraps happening between Jon Fogle and Fish. They've been even now. There comes the ult, World Ender, follow, flash, auto, the Airy picks up the kill, Mimi Slime with the solo bolo in the mid lane. That is huge. Gold advantage, farm advantage, and now a kill advantage to Mimi Slime.
And it's these solo lanes which just make or change the game so much. It doesn't matter how behind your bot lane is if your solo laners are just that oppressive and get ahead that much.
Meanwhile, the bot lane
Kobo
the hook
just
connects. Oh no, Fish was so low and actually got the remount there. Jon Fogle though, actually able to take Fish down almost to death. But in the Rift Herald, Pingu catches out Chips, who maybe shouldn't have been there at that point. I think they were contesting over the Herald, ends up falling instead. So at least something
And
more
this
back on the board
is-
for Cosmic.
yes, and this is the strength of Pingu. Not the strength of Pingu, but the strength of Viego. Just being able to translate this gold and item lead that he has to just take over this jungle matchup, leaving the top laners alone, which in this match seems to be working out just fine. Just leave the top lane alone, it will settle down.
Yeah, in this series, it's kind of surprising to see Fish here without a significant gold lead, with a 15 CS deficit in the counter matchup. I said, picking away picking away the OTP from the OTP player almost never works out. This might be one of those rare times. But yeah, I do think a lot of the praise has to go to Lord Pingu. Not putting attention on top side, keeping Chips occupied on other parts of the map. Although Fish will be able to pick up this plate, still going to be behind on farm, still going to be behind on XP, and now is the target of Lord Pingu. Sovereign's Domain comes out, dodging around that bear trap on the road. Stun comes through. Jon Fobel with the World Ender, flashed away from, knocked off the horse. Fish looking for the reset, but the knockup comes through. The kill is true. Pingu picks that one up for themselves. We see here Chips waiting on the flank, trying to find something back, but I don't think they will. We do actually see Rome here from Mimi side, perhaps now the strongest member on Lost Nation. Overforce here by Jon Fobel on the turret. Your jungler has reset, walking down to bot lane already. Jon Fobel not going to be long for this world, taken down, another kill in Mimi side's back pocket. Meanwhile on the bot side, extra will fool. Corwell finds a massive engage. Play massive as well. Still healthy enough. Kite away, but the sun comes through from Lord Pingu, flashed away from Arcane Barrage. Will miss. In the end, it's just a 1-4-0 in favor of Lost Nation.
What an explosive game. It's just, the game flipped so quickly.
Kill.
And Myrtex just getting
Dive.
out. Oh,
Myrtex trying to get Dove on there, taken out by Chips. Taking out Chips on that dive. Massive charm after that flag and drag the Cataclysm. That's the advantage of Ari. Can dodge away from that Cataclysm in a way that a lot of mid laners, more mobile mid laners, cannot. Gank though, once again onto bot lane. Corwell will end up fooling. It's the Sovereign's Domain. Pingu's game. Everyone else is just playing around in it. It's going to be a death on to Playmaster as well. And for the first time, it looks like Cosmic Transcendence have really been able to punish this bot lane. Thanks to Lord Pingu being able to find their way down. Now 5-0-1. It is their time to shine. 1,001.5k gold lead in favor of Cosmic Transcendence. However, in the top lane, Jon Fobel in a bit of trouble. Healing coming through. Fish though, not quite able to find that kill. Courage comes through. Jon Fobel is ignited. Jon Fobel is killed.
and we just see this. It's always these engages on the Kled who has halfway stacked up his rage, up his W passive. It's just so hard to punish this Kled with the ignite, with the remount. It's just so hard to play, and we see Pingu just taking over the map on the other side of the game. It seems like this focus on the bot and mid lane just working out for Pingu.
Yeah, once again, Pingu finally having some agency in this game. Feels massive. But then again, we said in the previous game, Lost Nation was heading into this mid game somewhat even with Cosmic Transcendence, and then we saw the map play, we saw the team fighting coming out from Lost Nation put themselves ahead. That's where this comp does shine. And we'll have to see if they can execute, you know, with this, as you said, this Wombo combo. We haven't seen a single Jarvan ult Cataclysm followed by that shockwave from Mimi Slime. We haven't seen the Grasping Roots properly come into play. I think there's less pressure this game to play into those ults as there are previous games we've seen from Cosmic Transcendence, right? They can play at range. They have this Ezreal Karma. They can play back a little bit versus this Kled, this Jarvan, this Naught. We're going to have to see, though, if Lost Nation can bait them and if Lost Nation team fighting can come out on top as we're heading into a quick pause instead.
Yeah, it seems like one of the players disconnected. It seems like it's Fish who lost connection.
Yep. Fish DC'd in that top lane. Looking at the state of the game, can we have a look at the gold lead quickly, production? See where it sits. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot in that mid lane. It's actually fairly even. 500 gold lead in the mid lane. 500 in the top lane.
I mean,
all of this gold lead this game.
Nearly a... Yes.
All this gold lead is on the jungle.
2k gold lead.
Sheesh.
The 2k gold lead onto Pingu. It's gonna be very hard for Elen to deal with that Viego if he gets going and if he gets down into this carry position. We've seen Pingu being more on the backseat this series, playing the Maokai, being rather passive onto the Jarvan, but now that he has this carry role, now that he is one of the biggest win conditions in CTR's comp, it's just his time to shine, and we truly see how he takes this lead and how he just is on the map and to be honest, I haven't seen Jarvan do much other than
Yeah.
securing those 2 dragons.
It looks like Chips has had a much more muted game. It's said the top lane, you've neutralized Fish, you've neutralized Chips, you've poured too much vinegar, too much salt on them. They can't get anything done. I mean, obviously we are still seeing Fish having a bit of an advantage here against Jon Phobel in the top lane, but this Kled won't be able to take over the fights in the same way that that the Aatrox could in the previous game, right? It feels like things are a lot better, yeah, for Cosmic Transcendence heading into this mid game. Now they will have to fight around this third dragon, right? They will have to play into Lost Nation unless they want to give over Soul Point to Cosmic Transcendence. Even don't want to give over Soul Point to Lost Nation unless they're willing to make that sacrifice. They will have to play into the Zyra, into the Orianna, who is still very far ahead. Oh, not very far ahead, but still very fed in this game. I'm not saying it's a guaranteed win. I'm not saying it's guaranteed with Cosmic Transcendence, but they are set up for success.
I mean, indeed, we see that they have the gold lead. It's a small gold lead, but still, it's different from the games before. They certainly have all the tools they need to win. The question is just, will they be able to transform this into a win? Like, will Pingu be able to take over the team fights, and will the rest of the team be able to follow and enable Pingu to be that carry that they need?
It's going to be up to that. It is going to be up to that. It's all about that one pick, right? I said it before. Say it again with Viego. It's all about finding that one reset in the fight. If we can have a look at the items quickly. Flushing. No defensive boots apart from those Merc Treads coming out yet for Lost Nation. There are no Merc Treads. There are no steel caps besides Nautilus. So all these targets are still very, very vulnerable. Yet, as I said, Viego finished up their first item, got the Sheen on the way, so far ahead of anyone else in the game. We're still waiting on pause. Viego Pingu even just asked, did the PC for Fish fall out of the window during the break, which I guess is, fair enough. It has been a solid 5 minutes. I think we're gonna throw to a Be Right Back screen while we wait for this pause to happen, just in case it goes on for another 10 minutes and we keep making the same point over and over again. Just to close it out, Cosmic Transcendence, I think they can do it. It's one more game. It's just one game they need to win. Take it one game at a time to try and make their way to the finals. So prodigious. We're going to be right back in just a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere. This game, everything's on the line. And we'll catch you after the pause. Hello, everyone, and welcome
And
back,
back.
on to the Rift. We're back here. We're just on the pause reverb. Trust me, we're going to be getting back into the action very, very shortly. I think both top laners had to go. First it was disconnect from Fish, then Jon Fobel had to go get some fishing levels on RuneScape. Maybe go try and take out the Kled. I'm sorry, that joke was terrible. But yeah, we talked about it
I
during
mean,
the break.
maybe he just got a better bait.
Yeah, true. Well,
And
maybe the bait.
we jump straight into the fight.
Mythic has been, sorry, not Mythic, but it's close to Mythic, has been completed for Fish here, but Mistress of War has managed to make their way up towards top side. No remount this time! Murtex on West, I know where I said Mistress of War, God.
And
Murtex
we
on
see-
West gets the kill.
And we see it worked.
Mimi Slime gonna end up taking a chunk out Lord Pingu. Actually, an overconfident play. Shutdown. That's 800 more gold into Mimi Slime's back pocket. 3-0-0. I think it's gonna be all about Orianna as this game goes on.
I mean, it is like they get the shutdown on Fish, but then this small mistake from Pingu, just this overzealous engage onto the Orianna, not knowing where the Jarvan is. Like, it is a small mistake at that, but these 800 goals are certainly gonna hurt. But it doesn't matter. Casa just picking up another kill, and this True Shot Barrage just styling off onto the top lane.
Yeah, it doesn't even need the True Shot Barrage to pick it up. Fires it off in the wrong direction on purpose. Yeah, in the end, Playmassive just ends up falling in this poke lane. It feels like this Nautilus is a lot less comfortable for Corwell than the Rel, and it feels like this hard poke lane of Kassar and Extra on this Ezreal Karma actually finally able to get some work done. We see now 1-4-1. Playmassive has oftentimes been the victim in these games, but has somewhat been carried by the fact that top laner is the top side is having a good game. When the top side doesn't have that good game, they can't get that jungle attention from Chips. They can't just sort of sit back and absorb pressure in that bot lane, because then they become a target, and yeah, they've just ended up falling for the 6th time this game in total in this bot lane. Now Lord Pingu looking for something onto Fish in this top. Charge comes out, will cancel out the stun. Knock up one, flashed away from the second. Look is on the roam. It's Mimi Slime. Once again, the goals in their back pocket for Lost Nation. As they got that 800 gold shutdown. Mythic boots completed. The only one to match that on Cosmic Transcendence is Ezreal with his cheapest hell Mythic and Viego. But instead, it looks like Lost Nation going to start up this Herald rather than look for the fight. Fish risking it. The dash in. Pingu in the area. There's no hope for escape. Fish will get fried. Lord Pingu will pick up the kill. Herald will be secured by the rest of Lost Nation. I think that's still a fairly decent trade. But once again, Fish on this hard counter matchup, over aggressive, dies in the top lane. Now, we see a reset coming through here from Mimi Slime in the mid lane. Going for that Archangel second, a little bit less damage perhaps than something like Shadow Flame, but obviously will allow you to be a little bit more viable, give you that much more mana. Meanwhile, we see the most vegan Ahri build I've seen in a while. Everfrost and Tenacity Boots coming out, Ionians for Murtex. I mean, they do have a lot of damage on the team, right? I can understand wanting to just play support, play setup to Lord Pingu on this Viego, honestly. Makes sense, 6-1-1. But Ahri's not going to be getting too much done by herself. Meanwhile, we see here Mimi Slime able to lane pretty effectively into this Ahri. We see now, though, here's the setup. Here's what you do the setup for. Massive shockwave onto 2. Mimi Slime will walk their way out. Murtex has to be careful. Oh no, Chips is in the area. Cuts off Lord Pingu at the pass. Heartbreaker forwards results in the death of the jungler. Once again over to the mid laner of Lost Nation. Pingu really not able to find much in these past couple of minutes.
Yeah, I mean, getting caught out a couple of times as the Fed carry, just not good. I mean, when you're the Fed carry, you need to be playing safe and not doing game-risking plays, but getting caught out a couple of times is just not great for him.
Yeah, really getting called out. I mean, that's kind of, unfortunately, that's kind of the nature of Viego. You have to play aggressive in order to get anything done with his kit. Play massive, though, speaking of getting aggressed on. Chunked out. Here comes the True Shot Barrage. Flashed away from at the last possible second. Play massive will make their way out.
great Ezreal there. Saying that she had flash to dodge it, but great burn of the flash either way. And also looks like it's going to engage. Oh, wow.
Oh no, stepping up a little bit too far. I think Kassar Arcane Shift forwards ends up falling. Extra will die as well. Now Lost Nation have supreme dragon control, teleports in by Jon Phobal, but just blown up by the Orianna. Not quite, the healing is nuts, but Kled is in the fight. Knockup connects. Viego, so little health, will end up falling, and that's your biggest gold lead gone. The rest of CTR force under their turret. Jon Phobal and Mertex are routed. Colwell hook connects, tanking out the turret, burst down immediately. Double lockup. Jon Phobal redeeming themselves. Re-engage charmed away from Fish, and Chips have fallen in the end. Somehow in that fight that looks so disastrous with their AD carry getting picked off right at the start, Cosmic Transcendence come out ahead and will pick up this Drake.
Yeah, I mean, Aatrox gets a flash third Q on Orianna, gets down the damage, and it's just looking good from there. Gives him a lot of healing, and when he U-turns the tower dive with just knocking them up consistently with a CC, and it heals him on top of it, it just looks good. And Jon Phobal played that fight perfectly and really well.
Extra picking one up onto play massive, walking up trying to steal. Oh no, it's sort of, you're just chucking people into the meat grinder at this point. Mimi Sign will end up falling as well. That's another 2 kills. Lost Nation did not need to give over. That's an extra 600 gold at least donated to Cosmic Transcendence. A little bit of a desperation play, trying to get that soul point position, but just not able to find it.
Yeah, very well played for the team here. CTR is pulling out this game very, very strong with comfort picks. It's just looking very strong for them.
Indeed it is. Turret getting pressured. Turret will end up falling in the mid lane. First turret, I think, of the game for Cosmic Transcendence. Yes, it is. First turret of the game full stop, despite being 20 minutes. They get their second one now on that bot side of the map. And now with Baron spawning up with a 5k gold lead, I wonder if Cosmic Transcendence will look towards it.
Yeah, let's see what they can do here. I mean, Viego's fed again. Well, he was never not fed. He's got a shutdown again, and he could be him dying again could give a lot of gold over to the enemy team. So that's probably what they're going to be looking for in these next fight for Lost Nations around these Barons. And yeah, for CTR, they're going to be trying to look around these, getting vision control for the Baron and looking to maybe force it. Because they've just got the pressure for it now.
Yeah, I think 1 or 2 picks could be crucial. I still don't think Lost Nation routed this game. As I said, they've shown that they can teamfight effectively. Funneling into that
100%.
dragon is not the play, right? That's sort of an uncharacteristic macro mistake from LN. But
Yeah,
now,
dive bombing into 1-by-1 after team wipe is just not a good idea. Let's just give it up and maybe look for vision control in other places for the next fight.
now we see an engagement onto Jon Phobal. Eclipse Shield comes out. Fish no longer the winner in this fight. Chip's forced to run for the hills, but the Heartbreaker will end up following. Gore Drinker keeps them alive just a second longer, but Kassar gets that kill. Viego gets the reset. Soul still not reclaimed. No remount, just an inch away. But it doesn't matter if the soul gets non-claimed because Cosmic Transcendence wipe Lost Nation off the board.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to look for a fight without the Orianna being... If Orianna doesn't TP over, just not looking good. 4v5, just a clean wipe, perfect, no deaths, and yeah. Kled couldn't get his remount, and yeah, no, just very good wipe.
Very
Securing Baron here.
Yeah, Darren picked up. That's, I think that partially a lot of that has to come from the fact that Mimi Sign was split pushing on the bot lane, not respecting the explosive potential of Cosmic Transcendence has come. Now the gold lead is 9,000. Lost Nation in a really, really troubling position. Cosmic Transcendence not going down without a fight in this series, looking to bring us to a game 4. I think they can do it. They've got the right positioning. Play Massive so far shut out of this game. Fish gonna struggle to be valuable as the game goes on as well.
Yeah, Kled sadly doesn't scale into this late game compared to an Aatrox, and he doesn't provide as much as an Aatrox to a team fight, so it's just not looking for the Kled scaling. And this Viego is becoming a big problem in these fights, getting into these souls and just 1v9ing these fights, honestly. Big threat.
Very, very big threat. Dodging away from that Chips engagement on the bot lane. Mertex misses out on that charm. Can't look for anything more onto Mimi Slime. oof, that Ari, never mind.
Chunk now.
I thought was going to offer something a little bit more vegan, has gone for the Shadow Flame second, which I think is a very base decision. It's just going to be chunking out Mimi.
I think Orianna purchased here very late because it looks like their Archangel staff's going to be completed very, very late into the game.
Oh my lord!
Ooh.
That was a risky stun coming out there from
It's very interesting.
Pingu. I mean, I respect going for it. Getting a pick onto, once again, maybe the most fed member on the Lost Nation side would have been crucial in these fights. But it looks like Lost Nation are looking to collapse in the spot lane. They have the numbers advantage. Hook is Zhonya's. Lord Pingu still sticking around. Maybe committing a little bit too much. Gets caught out by that ultimate Riptide from Corwell. Flashing away. Sorry, Heartbreakering away. Cataclysm has been used. But all of the ultimates for Lost Nation have been used as well. Connecting on the hook onto Lord Pingu, but the spot will not be able to take them out. Meanwhile, on the backside, John Fogle will end up falling. Mimi Slime still alive, still hitting. Soul reset here for BA. How much more can they get dominant? Heartbreaking number one. Possession comes through. In the end, Lost Nation overcommit. Lost Nation will end up falling. Cosmic Transcendence with the team fight turn on the overchase. Going to be able to reset here.
It's looking so good
Get
for
the
Lost
strike.
Nation there. It's looking so good, but Viego managed to get one possession and it was just over. This champion is very terrifying. Once he gets one possession in a team fight, especially when he's fed.
Indeed, indeed. And now that's yet another soul point denial for Lost Nation. 2 Chemtech souls. You know who really likes Chemtech soul? Aatrox does. Aatrox likes being at low health. You know who else really likes being at low health? Viego. Viego likes sticking around in these fights, getting scrappy, getting the healing off. Chemtech soul would be massive for both these champions. They're already really, really appreciating the tenacity and heal shield power.
Yeah, exactly. Just getting stunned less and you're just getting more healing. It's just great for these two champions. And for even Karma giving healing. So it's just very good in general.
It is indeed. And now it's sort of... It's such a different pace of game. 9,000 gold lead in favor of Cosmic Transcendence at this point. Mimi Slime, the only one I think on the team dealing any sort of damage at the moment, has got their 3rd item complete, does have a lead over their opposing number. But Viego's got 3 items complete, one of which is a Hex Drinker, which means that Mimi Slime's really not going to be doing that much at all. And that's also the issue of running these AP carries like Play Massive. Hex Drinker takes out 80, like, sorry, not 80, but like 60 or 70% of the damage coming in from Lost Nation at the moment, right? Kled's not going to be hitting onto you very much. Jarvan not going to be dealing that much damage. Gordring not going for the lethality build, which I still think is correct not to go for the lethality build, but still not going to be hurting anyone. Or not going to be hurting anyone as much. It feels like this game is just really snowballed in favor of CTR. 11,
yeah, I
3,
think
and
Moore's a
6.
great purchase here because if Aatrox is on top, because his ult also boosts more shield strength, but it's also a problem when not only the ADC but the mid lane is AP, so it's just half the team's damage is just immediately blocked, if not more.
As you see here, the engage on to the Fed jungler knocked up, but that's all the ultimates used. Nothing comes from it except for a kill to Pingu, a second one out. Kassar. Now it's Yon Verbal searching forwards. They thought they had found the pick, but Lost Nations were simply baited in. Triple kill to Kassar. Turrets will fall, surely an inhibitor as well. With 4 dead, maybe even the game. It's on Fish to try and clear out this wave, but you're just one little Kled. No 1v5 potential. Inhibitor will end up falling. 13 seconds to make it happen. I don't think they will. I think Massive will respawn in time. Should be able to clear the wave.
Fish versus the world here. Can he do it?
We're entering a pause. Oh, unpause. Turret 1 will fall. Turret 2, I think they just got enough time. They're going to be able to tear through. Dive in, charmed up, but they're just focusing the Nexus turrets instead. Murtex will end up falling, but Corwell, Play Massive are just here too late. Nexus will fall, and Cosmic Transcendence will bring us to a game 4 on the Rift.
Yeah, what a great game from CTR here. Well done. I mean, this Viego pick looked very comfortable, and it just looked like just what was needed, to be honest with you. And yeah, I think it's just a great pick overall. Just well done for CTR. Better drafting, I think, and yeah, just looking very strong in this game.
Yeah, looking incredibly strong.
Indeed. This game's so explosive, my router exploded. But thanks for Clark to subbing in. But yeah, this game was just insane, and it seems like there won't be that big of a pause. Maybe we're gonna jump into game 4 right away. Clark
Mhm.
and Cutie, what do you think was the deciding factor in this game 3? Just
I think it was comfort picks, honestly. I really liked Diego. I felt like Ari was comfortable. I think Ezreal was a comfortable pick with the Karma. It looked very comfortable, to be honest with you. Best way of
Yeah.
saying it. Just comfort picks.
I gotta
Very good.
concur. Not picking Silas blind in the mid lane, or not picking Silas into a bad matchup, really does help out. This Ari,
Yeah, who knew?
who knew? Who knew having lane prio versus a team that likes to focus top lane dives and top lane plays, really, really useful. Who would have thought? And I think Cosmic Transcendence have done a great job of adapting in this series. First, it was not getting perma shoved in by a Talia. Next, it was being there. Next, it was not blind picking the Silas, even though they still ended up picking it up. And then in this game, they punished the bot lane like they needed to. They prevented Lost Nation from getting a lead with this Kled in the top lane. The pocket counterpick didn't end up coming through too relevant. And I also got to say, massive congratulations, to Lord Ping, who just really intelligent on the farming, picked up a couple of kills and didn't let that lead go for a single second.
Yes, and just as Clark said, and as you just pointed out, it's these comfort picks, and it's the move away from the Silas, from a very passive or pretty much a laner that cannot get any prio, to a very comfortable and a very strong carry onto Lord Pingu, which we just saw that when he gets into this carry position and he's allowed to carry, then it's just he's unstoppable. I mean, small mistakes here and there, but overall, beautifully played. And we jump right into the draft.
Indeed, we do. Bel'Veth ban, as we have so often seen coming out from Lost Nation. Rel taking up the board from Cosmic Transcendence. I wonder if Lost Nation, finally having taken the loss, will choose to take up their bans. I do think they're significantly favored on blue side. We saw how effectively they pinched the champion pool top side of Jon Phobal, abusing that counterpick. We see Aurelia banned out, Vlad taken off the board as well. Not too much changing here. But this time, Ari banned away for Mitrex.
I mean, they seem to be scared of this Ari, which I cannot. I think I can count on my hand on how many R charms she hit. But the card is being picked up by LN.
Oh
Wow.
my lord. Oh my lord. This could either go into the jungle or into that ADC position, or hell, even towards the mid lane. I think it was it Cosmic Transcendence posting about their Jarvan, their Karthus in the EAL chat, and how many times they're
Very
dying
much
on it in solo queue.
indeed.
Yeah, it was them.
Very much.
It's kind of funny
It
to
is
see it
them.
picked up here by Lost Nation instead, just because Karthus obviously can function in the ADC position. Very, very interesting. And oh my god, it's a blind BR1 Aatrox slam from CCR.
I think John is saying to Fish that, hey, you've seen my Aatrox last game. This game, I'm warmed up.
This game,
I mean,
it's sort of,
hands off.
it's telling when you demolish the pocket counterpick of the enemy, right? When you pick something, you lay your cards on the table, the enemy can't deal with it. It's a lot of pressure now on Fish, maybe the star player for Lost Nation, to come up with something else that can deal with this Aatrox, because clearly Kled was not it. And I like this Ezreal re-pick here by Cosmic Transcendence, once again safe in the bot lane. Ashe, though, hovered. This is maybe the one ADC that Playmaster does play Ashe, Seraphine, even if you want to go Seraphine support. Seraphine AD carry, even you can go Ashe support Seraphine. If it does get locked in, I think it's... I'd like to see them ult more than the Ashe in the time Bazaar played against Lost Nation. But I think this is the sort of utility carry that you might look towards if you are playing a Karthus jungler, has been locked in.
And it is the Ashe. Seems like that LN is gonna look for those team fight changing ults with the Karthus, with the Ashe, and the Alistar, picking a very reliable and strong front line, something that they lacked in the last game.
Yeah, they did. I mean, Nautilus can play that frontline role. I think it's interesting, actually very, very interesting, that Lost Nation opted the Alistar over the Nautilus into the Ezreal once again. Maybe really feeling like they have to disrupt Aatrox in these fights. Jon Phobal was so crucial in a couple of those bot lane skirmishes. However, CTR have picked the litter for support here. You can opt for anything. What will go back to the Karma.
I mean, it worked good the first game. It's gonna work well the second game because the Karma empowered shield will soak up most of the damage that this Karthus will bring in the early stages of the game. So it is a counter pick to Karthus, but a Soraka might have been a better choice. Just that
Yeah.
reliable heal onto the R, just negating all of that Karthus is bringing. Also with the silence, just taking away so much potential. But we see the Kled being banned. Seems like the Kled counter pick was something that John was struggling against. And the
Mhm.
Syndra being banned as well. Seems like Murtek is getting all this pressure and all this
Yeah.
attention.
All of his safety being denied away from the mid laner. I mean, I can understand not wanting to ban jungle. It's kind of interesting to note that Jarvan has fallen all the way down in this draft because of this Casters flex, maybe towards the mid lane that you mentioned. We'll probably be heading towards jungle though. It's going to be interesting to see what Cosmic Transcendence choose to look to punish this Casters though, because you do need to get this Casters off the board. You need to stop him snowballing into the game. If you can just keep clearing camps off cooldown, Jarvan, Casters just outscale any other jungler in the game. Other ban away
Jarvan being banned
makes sense.
I mean, after the Viego performance, it's interesting that Ellen is not seeing this Viego as a threat, and the Fiddlesticks being hovered. Oh.
Nah, you're not doing this. There's no way that we've gone from like the most unga bunga run forwards junglers in the past 3 games to seeing Carter's Fiddlesticks match up against each other. Never mind, it's going to be the Nocturne. I like this a lot. I like this a lot because it's a similar sort of idea to Talia, I think, another power farming jungler, where if you're Nocturne and you push ult and dive on the casters at level 6, what the hell is he going to do except die to you, right? Doesn't have any appeal for himself.
Same thing with Ashe. Same thing with Ashe. How will she go away? Like, how will she get away from you?
Oh, this is interesting. Gangplank finally been let through the draft. Something, once again, that Fishtoll in the top lane is so competent on. Will get locked in, doesn't have the priority to support the casters against an Aatrox, which means that maybe you'll look for a split match situation if you are Lost Nation. But Gangplank, very much a reliable scaler, a lot less of an early game power pick than this Kled. Does get locked in. Final pick here for Lost Nation is going to be a Skarner. That means it's going to be a Karthus mid lane, not a Karthus jungle. And I think Nocturne is significantly less happy about that one.
Are we currently stuck in a time machine? Are we back in season 3? What is this? A Skarner? In this day and age? Now,
Oh my lord.
This is something that I didn't expect happen in 20,000 years of collective game design.
It has been coming up a little bit, I believe, in
Xerath!
Oh, I like this. Cosmic Transcendence have a poke comp once again, right? They got Xerath, they got Ezreal, Karma. They will be able to outrange Gangplank, Skarner, Alistar, Ashe, and especially Karthus. I do want to say there's a bit of an issue with Cosmic Transcendence is that they haven't really got a very tanky member, aside from Aatrox, but he can only heal when she drain tanks, right? You don't have something like a Sion in the top lane, you don't have something like a Nautilus or an Alistar in the bot lane. That comp is very, very squishy. Lost Nation have a lot of tools to make their way in. Gangplank ult is so crucial into these outrange comps because you can just slam it down, force the enemy team either to run back towards you or to trudge through that artillery wave.
Indeed. It's gonna be certainly an interesting game to see how LN will play this setup, seeing that their only engage is the Skarner, and they will probably try to lock down the Aatrox or lock down the Nocturne or just flash engage onto the Xerath or the Ezreal, seeing how much they have peeling in the team. But yeah, Clark, who do you think is gonna take his draft away? Well,
I mean,
what are your thoughts?
I think a lot of it depends on top lane here because GP versus Aatrox is a very game deciding play because if GP gets ahead, it could be a rolling stomp. But if GP doesn't, it could look very good for CTR here. The poke in the team before team fights even start is going to be very hard to walk in and vision objectives. I think it looks really good for both sides, honestly. I think it'd just be better player wins on this one. Looks very good for both sides.
Mm-hmm. Well, we are unfortunately going to have to see on the Rift in a couple of minutes. We're going to throw a quick break while we wait for spectate delay. These two teams fighting for their finals position. Cosmic Transcendence, Scrappy finding a win against Lost Nation, but Lost Nation still, I think, with a better draft, looking to try and close out this series. Will we be going to a Silver Scrapes? Find out in just a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we bring to fall the giants?
Hello everyone and welcome back onto the Rift. Cosmic Transcendence in the previous game found a win with this Ezreal Karma bot lane. But now Lost Nation on blue side have the momentum back in their pocket and they've picked Karthus mid, they've picked Skarner jungle. It's a little bit crazy, a little bit wild. But
Yeah, seeing Play Massive playing an ADC this time, this should be an interesting
that's the craziest thing. That's the craziest thing about this entire draft, if I'm honest.
Yeah, honestly. It should be a lot of interesting players. I mean, top lane should be interesting to watch, and bot lane will be very interesting to see who gets poked out first. I mean, Ezreal not taking cleanse is very interesting into an Ashe Alistar, but we'll have to see where it goes. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, very, very interesting indeed. Play Massive, never mind. Have a look at his inventory. Gone for the tier. It's gonna
Nope.
be the Poke build. 100% Poke build coming out. Never mind. He tricked us. He almost got us into thinking he was playing an AD carry, but no, it's gonna be the goddamn Manamune. Manamune. What should we call it?
Mandate. I think it
Mandate.
is.
Mandate. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. No one's built Iceman ages, so.
Yeah, no, Ashe Mandate is don't know support items that well, but that's one I've played against too many times. When Ashe support was a thing, that was an annoying build. But
Certainly
this
was
game,
indeed.
yeah, it's
I
gonna be
mean-
very boring. Well, not boring, just very painful for the enemy team to deal with this. Plus, the Ashe ultimate will be on a very, very low cooldown, so it's gonna be spammed a lot. So
Yeah, and
maybe
I think-
it'll be very interesting.
I think maybe that's sort of the solution to the if one person gets fed in the enemy team problem that Lost Nation had in the previous game. If you just keep spamming Ashe arrows at them, eventually one's going to hit in a place where the rest of the team can follow up.
Maybe next time if Ashe doesn't work, just pick Malzahar. Does the same thing.
Yeah, true. Honestly. We see here also Fish on a much more scaling matchup into the Aatrox. Definitely a different sort of philosophy here. I think, yeah, we'll have a lot better time as the game goes on, I think. Is really going to struggle a bit into the Ezreal Xerath, though. Nobody's going to be walking into his barrels. I do want to say, I
three
actually
camp
think...
top gank.
Oh, 3-camp top gang here from Pengu. Barrel is in place for Fish. Can get that slow, got the speed up as well. No hope of any play coming out there. Nicely done. Fish just going to walk away. I do want to point out though, yeah, I think both Karthus and this Gangplank will end up struggling as the game goes on. They're going to be hard outraged by this Earth Karma Ezreal. It's going to be really hard to connect these barrel chains, really hard to connect these lay wastes to anyone at all. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
global ults will help out a bit, but it's really reliant on Chips finding a good engage, or Corwell finding a good engage, or Play Massive finding a huge long-range arrow to make
Yeah,
this
I mean
go.
exactly that though. Maybe the ults will do something because they're very immobile as a team, with the exception of probably Skarner. But I think the ult might be a bit devastating in certain places if they look for tower dives in certain lanes. But with a Skarner, they could possibly set up, especially in bot lane. But yeah, I mean, barrels will be hard to connect with the amount of CC immunes or like just dashing or anything really. It's gonna be very hard to land them and the range. So yeah, the GP pick will be depends on how well Fish plays it, honestly. And if they look for jungle pressure around the barons, it's probably the best way to utilize it.
Yeah, I think
But
so.
yeah,
I
it should
think
be
so
interesting.
too. Really should be interesting. But not too much happening in the early game. Obviously, we saw Pingu trying to make that play onto the top side. We do see Fish and Jon Phobal trading out. Somehow, this Gangplank is having as good, if not better, trades against Aatrox than this guy. Of course, we'll be lower mana. We'll have to reset to grab probably the tier, maybe a Sheen.
I mean, it's not very surprising with the barrels resetting your passive. That's like 100 true damage burn early game, which is quite a lot. So if he can use the move at speed to utilize dodging Aatrox Qs, it's pretty good. Or
We
looking
do
for a
see
gank
Chips
top lane.
ganking on the top side here, if you don't mind Blushing looking up there. We see the gank coming through. Fish is in a little bit of trouble, but Jon Phobal is in a whole hell of a lot more. Kiting back, flash over
Great
the wall.
flash.
Only Ghost on Chips can't follow. Yeah, masterfully done there by Jon Phobal. Making it out alive of that play is really, really huge. Now it's on to Lord Pingu on the map. What's they going to do? They're going to look for a play on some Mimi Slime. Choke out to half health already. Stunned up, will get taken down. Nice answer here by Cosmic Transcendence, picking up the first blood in this mid lane play.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like with the jungler being put on more carry / comfortable picks, it looks like he's allowing just more ganks more freely to be able to play. It just looks better for him, honestly, instead of these Maokai Jarvan picks. So maybe he should try to stick to it for the next couple of games if he can get to a best of 5 here.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I mean, that's certainly what Cosmic Transcendence are looking for, right? Lord
100%.
Pingu.
Oh,
Ooh, dodging out, fancy footwork. Not gonna be enough. Mimi Slime just teleports back in, overstayed by Murtex. Ends up punished. Meanwhile, on the top side, we see these two junglers dueling it out. Chips will end up suffering in the beginning of this game. Ult comes out from Karthus, will be spell shielded away by the Nocturne. And Chips, overconfident, overplays his hand and ends up falling.
yeah, great punish for CCL there.
Now Fish is going to end up falling as well. It's disastrous in the top lane here for Lost Nation. Flash away will not save you. Pingu A moves onto the minion. Barrel will come out the auto.
Oh my god.
My lord, Fish looking to try and get the Q. Chains come through. The gunshot is true. A double kill over to Fish in the top lane. They outplay the gank. Sure, they die to the chains, but miracles made by the Gangplank.
Wow, Fish on Gangplank, what a performance there. Dodging the Aatrox Qs, dodging, I guess Nocturne must, A moved a minion, don't know what that was, because that, I think, screwed up the entire play there. That 1-0-2 would have killed him.
Yeah,
well played to
definitely
Fish for punish that one little mistake there. Well played to him.
Very, very nice.
Great mechanics put through.
Yeah, that's, I mean, you can tell this guy's a veteran on the Gangplank.
Oh, 100%. Not many
100.
people could do that.
Now it's 2-for-1 on both these top laners. Have picked up the Grievous Wounds, will set behind that Triforce build a bit. Not gonna go, maybe gonna go for the Essence Reaver instead. We're not seeing a tier in that build. Actually, yeah, it is with those double longswords. I think has to go for that Essence Reaver.
Yeah, he's going for the Essence Reaver already. I mean, he also bought an Executioners already to respect the Aatrox healing. Well played to him.
We do see in the jungle that Pingu able to pick up the whip. We see in the top lane as well. Fish getting chunked out by these ultimates. Fancy footwork, not going to be enough to save him. Dodges 4 out of 5, but shutdown going over to Yon Phobal there. Overextension ends up punished. Destination 450 gold into his Aatrox's back pocket. And a massive wave he can pick up as well.
Yeah, it's a very big shame there. The barrel was, if he just held it for a split second longer, he might have escaped with the movement speed and the barrel slow. But yeah, very well played for John Vogel to punish that mistake. It's a very small mistake, but punished him very hard for it.
Certainly did. Certainly did. Now this top lane getting shoved in. No teleport here for Fish. It's a cannon wave. They shouldn't lose out too much on this. Very fortunate, but Cosmic Transcendence now able to look for this dragon on the bot side of the map. Ash Arrow connects. That's a lot of chain CC. Stunned up. Extra flashed away. Will not survive. Mimi Slime from the mid lane as well. Going to catch out Pingu. It feels like just an overfall. Ezreal, Kassar not in the area. Pingu will end up falling as well. A massive catch there from Lost Nation. Going to stop that dragon take. Going to get a couple of kills for themselves.
I mean, we talked about this like previous games where the Jarvan walked in and he didn't have lane pressure, and it was the exact same case here, except it was just reversed teams here. So yeah, Lost Nation punished it with having both lane pressure, and it was just well played to them. Good punish, and yeah, well played.
Very, very nice.
Securing the dragon here.
We do see Mimi Slime now feeling that range advantage a little bit. They end up getting chunked out just that little more. Lost chapter complete for this Xerath means that yeah, it's going to have a much better laning presence. But not too much to report on right now. We do still see, obviously, Yon Phobal. I do want to point out, by the way, massive glow out from Yon Phobal over the series. Getting dumpstered game 1, dumpstered game 2, dumpsters in game 3. Now is 3-1-0 in this top side. His ult is procced, but can't quite find the angle on to Fish. 8 Morages and was K. But yeah, it's Yon Phobal sort of proving that he's bad enough to bash with the best in the league. Here comes the ult in now from Pingu. No orange available means that the fear will come out. The nearsighted to the ultimate lands, but it's not going to be enough damage. Chips trying to drag Yon Phobal under the turret. Does go through.
No.
Oh my lord, a sliver of health. Yon Phobal walks away with it. Not even the E. Oh my god. He's so risky with it. The arrow goes wide as well. And now here comes the ult from Xerath. Dodge, 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 dodge. Pingu on the chase. Has that Q, will not be able to find it. In the end, though, it's still a massive wave lost under turret for Fish. Couple more plates in Yon Phobal's back pocket for just a sliver of health.
Yeah, very unfortunate for the Gangplank there in the Skarner. Very well played for John, though. Holding, I mean, it's very well played for Lord Pingu for him just to punish that small mistake of using a barrel. I mean, GP is very easy to punish if you know what you're looking for, and they're just doing it perfectly time and time again.
Yeah, it's good to see a Nocturne, despite not having any kills, has been managing to get their way around the map. Maybe we can change that now. Mimi Slime
Oh.
messes up the flash over the wall, not quite long enough range. Looking to try and get the counter kill. Does manage to pick it up with that lay waste. In the end, it's a 1-for-1 in the mid lane. Which
This
I think
Karthus
favors
is
Mimi Slime.
performing really well. 3-2, has a very good CS lead, nearly 10 CS per minute, and is performing very good with this Karthus pick here.
Yeah, 9 CS a minute, pretty impressive considering the amount of pressure that Lord Pingu has been sending down towards that mid lane. I do want to point out this Karthus will get more and more scary as the game goes on. I mean, obviously that's the nature of the scaling champion. Xerath as well. I like to think Xerath and Karthus are somewhat similar in terms of champions, right? They both have an ult. If you think about it, Xerath ult's kind of like a Karthus ult, where you can only hit a single target, or like can only hit like 2 or 3 targets, but you can deal a lot more single target burst damage with it, right? It's still got that semi-global range.
Yeah, in a way,
obviously,
yeah.
it's skill shot. And I do still think that Murtex, despite, you know, Karthus performing well, there's only a limited range. You can use that Q, you can use that lay Rex. Murtex, as the stadium phase goes on, now that Leandris has been picked up in the mid lane especially, should be able to bully out Mimi Slime pretty effectively. Just using that range advantage. We see here once again the gank onto the top lane. There comes the ult. Oranges are there this time for Fish. Turret dive comes through, dodging away from that Q. 1 and 2. Yon Phobal, however, still picks up that kill.
Yeah, great punishes. I mean, shutting down one of the best players in the team is certainly a good tactic.
Oh no,
certainly.
and Play Masters spending time on their own in the bot lane, dodging out from that final Q flash. Mystic shot secures that kill. Corval on the roam, getting punished, but now Chips is here. Here comes that ultimate. One will not fall. Kassar and Zitra are both alive. Ignite comes out, teleport in by the top laners. Here comes that Zerathol. One down. The hit charges left for Fish. In the end, the barrel doesn't come through. Ulti goes wide. It's 3-for-1 in favor of Cosmic Transcendence.
Wow, well played wow, just well played to CTR in general. Not much I can say about that. It was just beautifully played. Good TP from John Phobal. And he also stopped the auto attack on the barrel. Well, he autoed the barrel before he could pop it, so then he saved the Karma's life there. It was just really well played from John Phobal there. And it's just not looking good for Lost Nation here. Really is not. With a small 3 gold lead at this stage is pretty good for CTR. And this Aatrox is very fed now.
What a great heads-up play on that early teleport as well. Gunphobal being there just a slight bit earlier than Fish.
Yep.
All of the difference. Now, Gunphobal has 7 kills on this Aatrox. Not a single assist. 7, 1, and 0. 7 of the... He's got as many kills as Lost Nation have combined, and 7 out of 11 for Cosmic Transcendence. So I feel like 2.5k of that 4k gold lead must be on his back pocket.
Oh,
now
100%.
Herald is somewhat up in this top lane. Gold donates over to Kassar and Pingu. Turret will fall. First turret as well. It's some extra gold. Fish in a very risky spot. Is spotted out on that sweeper. Being run down by Pingu. Mimi Slime though is here to defend. Meanwhile, Lost Nation's also looking to make a play on the other side of the map. Yon Phobal getting punted away. Will not fall. Herald will charge through though. Never mind. That last lay waste picks up that kill for themselves. Dives under the turret. Lord Pingu picks up one. But will not pay for it with their life just yet. Ticking down to the Leandri. Looking to try and execute, I think. Minions. Not going to do it, but the turret will. Mimi Slime 1-for-1 on that turret dive. Meanwhile, the rest of Lost Nation just kind of playing cinema gameplay with this dragon teleport. Well, no, John Phobal just walked their way down now. Chips chunked out from all this poke, knocked up once, knock up 2 connects on play massive. Mispositioning here might end up punished. Q3 forced out the flash. Trying to kite back. 1 connects. Chain connects. The Eclipse is enough. Yon Phobal flashing forwards. He's got blood in his eyes. 9 and 1 will be shut down by the Alistair.
Oh, that is not good. The support is taking all of that shutdown away is just not very good for Lost Nation here.
Stealing the gold out of Karthus' mouth right there.
Oh, that's not good.
It's very good for Lost. It's good for Cosmic Transcendence. It's good if you want the game
100%.
5. It's good if you hate me and how my voice sounds, because my throat's gonna be absolutely blown out by the time game 5 comes with these bloody 2 kill a minute games. You know, I'm sick of it, man. I just want a slow paced game. Meanwhile, we see here Pingu moving down towards this Chem Tech Drake. Advantage definitely in Cosmic Transcendence's favor. Can we have a look at the gold production? I want to see how much is on that Aatrox. It's a 3k. It's only like 2k of the 4k lead, right? Which I guess is a fair amount. It's half the lead on this Aatrox advantage in the top lane. The rest is actually in the jungle onto Lord Pingu. The rest of the players are fairly evenly matched, but Cosmic Transcendence pick up that Drake for free. Chips on the other side of the map, not looking to contest. Arrow fired out. Connects on to Extra. But there's no hope of any sort of follow-up there. The Karma will just walk away out.
GP getting poked out really hard here. I mean, Xerath is actually in a very strong spot. Been farming a lot for most of the game and picked up a couple of kills with assists. So it's going to deal a lot of damage in the minute. And even it is starting to deal a lot of damage, so it's starting to become a bit of a threat, not just the Aatrox.
Of course, of course, of course. Kassar as well, not to be underestimated. 1.5 items at this point in the game. Has got lots, he has got those turret plates in the top lane as well. Meanwhile, the top lane gank onto Murtex. Chips stunned up, doesn't get in with the ghost. Mimi Slime now forced to try and kite away from Kassar, try and dodge those skill shots, but he can't dodge autos. Kassar picks up that kill onto Mimi Slime. Yet more gold in this AD carry's pocket.
I mean, for Lost Nation here, I think they either need to look for good picks or just to try to farm up here. There's not much options they can do.
Well, not as
Ult
connects on to Extra, but here comes Nocturne. So careful of this re-engage. Trying to peel out Corwell. Will keep the AD carry alive. Just about. Teleporting from Jon Vogel will pick up the kill there. And now that's a reset. That's 2 down. 3 more over to Cosmic Transcendence. Murtex picking that up with the ult. In the end, it's a 3-0 to the CTR boys. Unless this ult will pick up Kassar. A Mantra shield from Extra ticking, ticking, ticking. Will survive. What is it with people getting away on the sliver of health in this game?
Wow, the Karthus are just not doing enough. Ever so slight. So unfortunate, and it's not looking good for Nostalation. After that teleport tower dive on, it's just not looking good. In the minute, it's not even close to Baron, and they're putting this much pressure on. So it's very concerning, this game for Lost Nation. Looking like a game 5 at this rate.
Certainly is. It certainly is. Oh my lord. What a mess. What a mess of a series is this. It looked so dominant. It looked so dominant for Lost Nation in game 1, but CTR have gone from strength to strength to strength throughout this series. I mean, the game's not over yet, certainly not. But they're really looking like on track to bring us to that game 5, which honestly massive glow up from them. Massive, massive mental recovery from Jon Vogel in the top lane, getting dumpstered. Dare I say, just absolutely shattered by Fish and Chips, but yeah, able to hold their own, able to find these decent selves, and now is having maybe one of the best Aatrox games we've seen in the EAL ever. 11, 2, and 1 at the moment. 2 items complete compared to the 1 for Fish.
Very surprised Fish didn't go for the GP tactic where you go double cloak and try to get 50% rush on him and try to RNG the crit barrels. That's what most GP players do, but he's just trying to rush for the Navori, it looks like, which is understandable when you're behind, I guess.
Ooh, that's a nice arrow connecting on to Extra. Gonna get knocked up, stunned up, taken down. That's gonna be a pick to Lost Nation. They're gonna feel happy about that one. The damage isn't quite there, actually. Murtex picks up the kill onto Ashe. Jon Vogel is here for the re-engage. The ult onto the Ezreal. Kassar will do nothing. Sure, the shutdown goes over to this Skarner, but that's not who you need the gold on. Cosmic Transcendence, Pingu flashing over the wall. Jon Vogel, another one over to him. Without your GP here, without your Karthus here, you're just not dealing any damage in these fights.
Not looking good for Lost Nation. That's a 2 for 1 for CTR, and they're looking very strong here. They just need to get rid of this Aatrox, because this Aatrox is just coming in and killing everyone.
I mean, you say that, I know Murtex has been massive in these team fights as well. Finally,
100%.
properly come online as this Xerath. 5, 1, and 5, 10 stacks on that Medjay. And I guess it is helped out by the fact that Jon Vogel's absorbing so much pressure. Nobody can find their way onto the Xerath. They just got to kind of accept these nuclear lasers coming out of this little blue man. But they're getting chunked out for half health every time one connects.
Oh, okay. So I think for Lost Nation, the only way to come back in this game is look for a Baron play, like looking for a Baron fight, and potentially somehow win it. It's not really any other way of coming back for this one. They have to kill them around the Baron and take the Baron and try to win the game off that. It's the only way that they can really come back into this, unless you just miraculously win 16 fights in a row.
Yeah. Dragon being started up here by Cosmic Transcendence. Gonna push further towards that soul. Cloud Soul not that impactful in this game, of course. By the way, let's see how much damage this Caster Soul just. Oh, it's just the. Sorry. Not Caster Soul, but it might as well be. Zerath one-shots Desire. Dive under the turret. Corwell not long for this world as well. Will just end up slightly making their way out. Just ever so slightly by the skin of their teeth. But yeah, this Caster's plus. Sorry, my brain's absolutely exhausted. This Carter's plus Nocturne combo is still fairly strong. Chips trying to drag back. Chips will, Kassar will pick up that kill for themselves. Again, chunked out in this fight. Still, I don't think CTR really wants to be going for the Baron at this point. That's a very nice spell shield, by the way, by Lord Pink. Not going to get stunned up by that arrow. Rift Herald has been spawned. Will be putting pressure on that mid lane turret.
I mean, the biggest problem is burning the Scanner ult for the ADC, when I think they should be saving it for the Aatrox to try to neutralize him to a degree. I think that's the main focus here, and we're gonna have to see how they deal with this Aatrox, because if they go into a team fight with it, it's not looking good. That's gonna be the main focus.
It certainly will be. It certainly will be now. I guess I'm thinking of how Lost Nation find their way back into this one, right? Like, I think... I don't know. It feels like so much the comp wants to surge forward. You'll make these long-range picks that play massive, but Karthus is just so short-range. Gangplank is just so short-ranged. Like, you gotta... I feel like Chips needs to find an ultimate flank, make their way out with Murtex from these fights. You can't just be dragging out Kassar. It's not good enough. And then somehow you have to deal with the 12-2 Aatrox at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, like, they either have to drag out the Aatrox and one-shot him, one-shot the Xerath before he can cast a spell, so there are only two options, really. And they're not easy options to do. They have to engage with the Skarner and follow up with the Alistar immediately with the CC chain and to the Ashar, but let's see if they can actually utilize all their CC together. Otherwise, it's just maybe looking for a sneaky Baron is another way of doing it, but that's the only options they have.
It certainly is. It certainly is. It's such a grindy game, man. It feels like there are a lot of kills. One going down here on to Mimi Slime. But suppression comes through. Carter's gonna kill you while you're dead. Mimi Slime gets one back onto Lord Pingu. Arrow connects onto nobody. Kassar. I do want to point out, Playmassive has finished up the first item of their build, not even opting for that item. Meanwhile, in the top lane, there's a dive onto Yon Phobal onto Fish, but Fish turns it around on just a sliver of health.
That was very greedy for John Phobal. Doesn't need to be going for these aggressive plays, and just gives over 800 gold to the GP. That is not very good. That's the one way to start throwing a game, because GP is one of the main damage dealers. It's not this Ashe. It's only Karthus and him, and yeah, it's just not good to give over 800 gold to a very scaling champion that can one-shot you later.
It's very, very terrifying indeed. Like, I do want to say, instead, Fish has had a really rough game. It's his turn to be a bit of the punching bag in this one. Given the gold over is going to feel good, I still don't know how much they're going to be able to do with it. Maybe on the side lanes, but you've got to be so careful of Pingu. You've got to be so careful of Murtex just popping their ults and killing you on there. It's... Even with that shutdown, the gold lead's 5,000, Dragon lead in favor of Cosmic Transcendence. Map control certainly in their favor as well. It still feels pretty doomed here, I'm going to be honest, despite that shutdown.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's going to have to look for some miracle play. It's just that's the only option they have, killing either one-shotting the Aatrox, which is doable. He's got a very squishy build here, not completing his third item. But yeah, I mean, the next fight, they have to one-shot either the Xerath immediately or the Aatrox. And it's not looking good because Xerath has too much range, and the Aatrox is not very easy to kill. Or, I say that, but these barrels, the damage to them.
Yeah, I mean, is able to find the kill onto
I'm looking
Yeah,
for
the
Baron.
Aatrox on side. It's maybe possible to look for Baron. Teleport coming through. Cosmic Transcendence looking for themselves, but there were only 2 commits on that bot side. Dive immediately on to Mimi's side. Corval getting called out. Has a lot of health, but does eventually get chewed through. This is the issue with Lost Nations comp. They're not that good at surging forwards. Pingu will end up falling, though, in the 1-for-1. No jungler on the side of Cosmic Transcendence. Massive Q onto Kassar. Steps up just a little bit too much. Lay Waste will lay the coffins down. One will die. Kassar will fall. Baron will go over to Lost Nation. They said they maybe needed a miracle to find their way back into this game, and they managed it.
Yeah, I mean, killing the Aatrox before the fight starts and getting the TP in to follow up, or Aatrox TP. And maybe look for something here.
Looking for it, looking for it.
Oh, Skarner is too fast. Breaking the ankles of these guys, both of them.
Yeah, just gonna be able to dodge their way out. Dodging out these skill shots as well. Finding that pick before Baron was just so crucial, right? An overcommittal on the
100%.
bot side of the map for Jon Vobel there. Shut down once again.
I mean, we can't start underestimating these GP crit barrels. They do half his health bar, and yeah, very terrifying. GP saves 3 items, starting to get the items in to deal one-shot people now.
Now,
And this Karthus is very terrifying.
Cosmic Transcendence, so do have first move on this dragon. They will pick it up for themselves. It won't be soul, only soul points. Slain up by Lord Pingu.
Puts them at soul point here.
Indeed. I think Cloud Soul is pretty good for Pingu, pretty good for Jon Vobel, not too much on anyone else. Maybe good for Extra as well for repositioning, but
Yeah. The next team fight, I think, will determine sway if Lost Nation an equal footing again, or if CTR is still in command of this game. But one little upset, one little good pick in the fight, and it could be one-sided. We'll have to see in the next fight.
we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Next fight, I think, likely to be around this Baron. By the way, it's kind of funny to note, Lost Nation still haven't taken a single turret on the on the map, right? Not a single one. Despite having this Baron as
wow.
well, they haven't managed to find any turret at all. It's been a really quiet turret game, despite the fact there have been like 40 kills this game. Only
Yeah,
3
even
turrets
with
have been taken.
CTR's side, it's only 3 towers being taken in total. It's very quiet in terms of objectives. Just a lot of blood, I guess.
I think both these teams are maybe feeling the exhaustion. This is their 4th game after all. The mental pressure at this point is so damn heavy. Cosmic Transcendence having their playoffs hopes on the line. Lost Nation desperately trying to close out this series, not wanting to get reverse swept. We'll have to see if they can do it. It's just, we're now in a bit of a lull state. 2 teams staring off against each other.
Yeah, one team no one wants to make a mistake here because it could be very game deciding. So they got to play it very carefully, and everyone's a bit scared to make a play. Looks
No
like.
one's even wants to push with this Baron buff in hand. It's just nobody. Everyone's so scared to step up because they don't want to get collapsed on by Pingu. They don't want to get collapsed on by Murtex. Even Kassar pointing out that True Shot Barrage could do a whole lot of work, right, on a side lane pick. So nobody at all is willing to step up. They just want to farm up. Maybe Slime wants to get some
Looks
more
like
gold
Ash
in
has
their
not
back
gone for the
pocket.
Imperial Mandate, actually. She's gone for that Leandries. For more burn damage, I guess.
Is going to put a lot of AP damage on the board here for Lost Nation. More going to be picked up here by Lord Pingu, but there's still some damage coming out from Chips. There's still damage coming out from Fish. I don't think it's going to be quite as effective in this game as the Maul purchase was in the previous one. Fish finally claims the turret for Lost Nation. Going to get collapsed on as well. Ult comes out, flash away. The oranges won't be enough to save you. Pingu picks up that kill.
Yeah, looking for the punish. I mean, it's very easy with a Xerath ultimate and a Nocturnal that's like half the map. So yeah, it's very, very terrifying to push it. Alone, especially with no backup and not enough information, it's just not a good idea.
Now we see Cosmic Transcendence sieging on to this mid lane tier 2, forcing out the flash from Play Massive Head, by the way, by Corwell, forced to flash out. That's a lot of Crucial Summoners bone by Cosmic Transcendence there, and a pressure point in this mid lane. They look like they're retreating towards this top side, maybe to try and secure some vision for this Baron when it spawns in 1 minute 55 seconds.
Yeah, I mean I think the next objective is what's going to throw this game away. It could be either the Soul or the Baron. We have to see the next team fight. I mean, I think it'll be very quiet until then. I think both teams are very, very scared of each other. So we'll have to see. Though GP getting his 4th item, working on his last item, will be very terrifying for the enemy team to deal with. Also, Cartha's getting his items along. Once he gets that Archangels, I believe he's trying to work towards, it'll be very good for him.
Certainly will be. It certainly will be. It's gonna be so deadly. I do want to point out, by the way, Murtex is still sitting on 10 stacks on this Dark Seal, despite all the fights that Cosmic Transcendence have lost. This Chips gets chunked out, caught out in no man's land, taken down, just providing cover for Mimi Slime. Actually, doesn't end up falling. Arcano Pulse not available. Murtex just doesn't pop it. Chips walks out for free.
Yeah, I mean, he did a nice sidestep on the... Well, Sky did a very nice sidestep to avoid the Q there, and he managed to pull out Lord Finger there. Not looking very good. Getting caught 2 people there is not very good. Gives him vision control around the dragon for the next couple of minutes. Well, next minute. Not very good.
Now we see both these teams looking to fight for this next objective. So Baron spawning up in just 24 seconds. Dragon spawning up in 10. Neither team is going to be there on spawn. Both of them a little bit late. Fish, though, waiting on this flank, trying to find something onto Murtex. Okay, the pulse fired. Has the poise to remain on this flank angle. In no man's land. Maybe looking to try and make the crucial play in this upcoming fight. If they can find the barrel on the backside, be absolutely disastrous for Cosmic Transcendence. Lost Nation started up this Drake, trying to deny it away. They don't know about the gangplank because they're so scared. Diving forwards though, Pingu will not secure it. Instead, Chips finds it. Will be the answer of 1-for-1 at the moment. The gangplank instead, Yon Phobal on the flank, knocked up, but the damage is just not there at the moment. Mimi Sign trying their best. Chips trying to drag away the Aegis and the rest of the team. The flash, Q3, not quite enough. Yon Phobal punted out over the wall, will end up falling, and now Lost Nation surge forwards. Requiem is there, another will fall. Oh my god, it's a slaughter, but in the end, all but 2 will fall for Lost Nation. It's an ace in their pockets.
You know, I've been talking about this GP all game, and I forgot to acknowledge that Cartha's one-shot everybody. He is not the only one that was just a threat this game. Wild play to this Cartha's landing his Qs and then just blowing everyone up with a 3-item power spike. Very, very huge here for Lost Nation. Just the gold is basically gone now, the gold lead. So, yeah, next Baron fight, I think, decides the entire game here. And it could be anyone's game in the next fight.
Certainly will be. It certainly will be. It's not that often you see a game with like 60 kills, or sorry, 50 kills. I feel like 3 minutes, so the game is so dead even. It's just been real bloody. It's been a fiesta back and forth. But massive congratulations to Lost Nation for holding it together through this really, really rough early game, right? They found their angle back in. They've suffered against a similar comp before, but they've sort of found out how to play against it. They got the shutdown to Murtex. Fish with that flank almost winning the fight for them, and now Mimi Slime is just so deadly if Yon Phobal gets enraged, if
I'm
Pingu
loving
gets
this.
enraged.
Sorry to cut you off, I'm loving this Ashe build. It's so...
I'm hating this Ashe build. This Ashe build sucks. I don't want to see this in my games. Fish getting collapsed on by Yon Phobal, flashing away from that Q3. Barrel proc, crit barrel comes through, maybe looking for the turn, dash away, will end up falling. Gangplank passive is such bullshit.
That
Did you see how much
damage.
it burnt Yon Phobal's health bar? I thought there was no hope there. I thought Fish was dead to rights, but he knows his limits better than I do. Yon Phobal gets caught out, and now the Baron has been started up by Lost Nation. Yon Phobal not there. Fish teleporting into the pit. Murtex trying to get something down. Mimi Slime chunked out, taken out before the fight even starts. Gonna cast that Requiem. 1 also will fall. Kassar is dead. Murtex the only damage left for Cosmic Transcendence. It's not enough to contest.
Ooh.
Chips diving forwards has the stinger available, going around for the flanks, looking to try and pick off Murtex. Cornwall messes up the combo. We see Stopwatch coming through, burning down, dive forwards. Lord Pingu picks up 1, picks up 2, will pick up the 3rd as well, will fall for it. Never mind, it's triple kill to the Xerath instead. Chips will get extra. Murtex pinned under that turret that doesn't exist anymore. What is this absolute fiesta of a fight, man? What is this absolute mess of a game? I'm loving it. I'm here for it. Screw the LEC. This is peak league.
I feel like the players are starting to make small mistakes after getting so tired on the 4th game and starting to show. I mean, I'm
The mental
surprised that.
pressure, man. The mental pressure.
Yeah, I'm surprised the Skarner just didn't ghost and run into and ult someone out. Like, yeah, I'm very surprised by that. Very, very surprised. But well played to the Lost Nation and CTR here for punishing each side perfectly. Well played to them.
Oh, and
Very
now
good.
the strain must be even more. When teams like double ace 2 or 3 times in the game, I know when I'm playing a game, this is where I'll admit, I sometimes mentally check out. I know I shouldn't, and I know these teams won't. That's what's going to make it difficult. So I know I wouldn't have the mental fortitude to play through this. And you know what the best part is? They might even have to play another game afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to play another game after this, it would be very hard to play because if you went to a 50-minute game and any league player can say after 50 minutes, you're so stressful to depend on who wins. And if you have to play another one straight after, God, I could not. Very, very hard. I would not want to be in that situation. But this game, it seems very, very stressful here. Both teams really wanting to win and playing very exceptional to win. Or
Certainly
GP's
are.
full build as well now.
Very, very scary. Gangplank going to be dealing. Can we have a look at how much Gangplank passive does? Production, if you just click on this icon, top left, like double click on the icon for GP. Hover over his passive, please. Deals 800 damage
700.
over 2.5 seconds, right? If you auto them, hit a barrel, auto them again, that's 1.5k true damage. I don't know if anyone can match him on the side lanes. Maybe it's possible for Murtex if he stays out of range,
Ooh.
but you're always at fear of an ult. Meanwhile, Arrow connects onto the jungler. That's a massive pick, pulled back with that Impale, immediately blown up. That's a lot of ultimate cooldowns used. Play massive chunked out by this Arcano Pulse. Jon Phobel getting dived on by diving onto Fish, but Fish picks up the kill anyway. Still, that's a kill onto the AD carry. Mimi Shadow forced to run for the hills, half health or less on the 2 carries remaining for Lost Nation. Kassar poking, Murtex poking. It's so hard when you don't have these ultimate cooldowns for Lost Nation. You don't have that Impale. It's up so quickly though with all the CDR. Can actually look for a repeat play. Instead, they're going to head towards this Drake, head towards that soul point for themselves. It's difficult for Cosmic Transcendence to contest, but it looks like they're going to try. Skarner. Not going to pop the ghost, just going to run their way out. Looking for the flank though. So speedy on these Cloud Rifts. Has the angle. No ghost popped yet. Corwell looking for it. Knockup dodged away from Guy. Kassar chips. Corwell, there's no way to reach them. Forced to back away.
Very unfortunate. The Karma Q came in and saved their lives. The slow stop Skarner's ghost there from Stinging Raying the Ezreal, so that was very well played from the Karma. And yeah, no, this is just very close. One more little mistake, it's just one little mistake could throw the whole game, but these two teams are just keep punishing little mistakes again and again.
What
They're really
a
trying for it.
nail biter. What an absolute nail biter of a series. After game 1, I thought, oh, I'm going to be able to watch some of the LEC off this. No, I am not. These two teams are too evenly matched. Blow for blow, 40 minutes, dead even, equal Drakes, even gold. Scaling, both teams have strong scaling elements. I'm at the edge of my seat, and you should be too, audience. This is the sort of gameplay I love to watch the EAL for. It's the sort of thing that keeps me coming back, that keeps me casting, and I hope you guys are as entertained as I am.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh,
wow.
wait, that's a massive Impale. Blast Cone will not work for extra, picked off before the fight even starts. Massive arrow dodged away from by Kassar, grazing him. Mimi Slime, however, dived on by Jon Phobel in the top lane. Flash away. Will not fall. But Karthus no flash. Fish not on the side lane. And it looks like Mimi Slime just cannot match this Aatrox.
I mean, Aatrox did a great thing there. You would expect Aatrox to be around the wave, but he just stood around the Krugs waiting for the Karthus to come around. Punished it very harshly. Also, Karthus did something interesting, which was selling his tier. Very, very interesting.
Well, maybe
Looks like he just used it for the mana
more-
already.
Yeah, I want to get more raw damage. You're not going to use up all your mana at this point in the game. You've got
Also,
plus
I thought
levels.
I thought Imperial Mandate was a mythic, but I'm wrong because Ash has it now.
has not been a mythic since the start of the season. It used to be one. This time,
Oh, okay.
yeah, they changed it. They changed it for the sport item rework.
I see. So yeah, now Ash has it now. So
Well, soon
there's gonna be a
nothing's
lot
going to
of
be a
that.
mythic, so that's not going to be you're not going to make that mistake ever again.
Yeah, I can't wait for that change. That's gonna be a good change.
Yeah, we see here now Cosmic Transcendence forcing their way into mid lane, getting this wave pushed out. Maybe looking to walk up with this Baron, but Lost Nation cut off at the pass. They just about make their way through. No collapse coming through in time. Cosmic Transcendence so close to clinching the game right there. Don Vogel has found play massive, but won't find much more. Ah, the tension is just too much. Barrel connects on to nothing. Both these teams posturing. Lost Nation, very importantly, has position in this river, but Cosmic Transcendence, I think, will just go and push out this midway, forcing Lost Nation to respond. Arrow goes wide from play massive. Should be up before the fight anyway, because that thing has no cooldown. It's just basic ability at this point. Meanwhile, Arcane Pulse comes out, chunks out so much of the Lost Nation lineup, manages to pick off Karthus. That's massive. Mimi Slime not in this fight. That's so much of the damage from Lost Nation. Didn't even have the Requiem to pop. Oh no, did pop the Requiem, but didn't obviously kill anyone. That was an insane barrel from Fish. Not enough to pick off Kassar. Just a sliver of health. Flank though from Chips has found onto Mitrex. Arrow connects onto the Ezreal. The carries are dead for Cosmic Transcendence. Shut down over. Dive on the top lane. Oh my lord, this is gonna be game. Jon Vogel, the last hope left alive. How much can you do? The superstar top laner pops the Zhonya's. Will it be enough? No. Will end up falling ace for Lost Nation and probably the game for Lost Nation.
We'll have to
Wait,
see
no.
here.
There's still like 15 turrets alive. I don't know
Oh,
if they have the
no.
push power. They don't have an AD carry. They do have Fish. Damage on the turrets is so high, but with Chips not opting to help out. 20 seconds on the respawn here for Kassar. I think they can still do it. Base, it's a bit of a race against time. Corwall tanking out of the way for the minions. Yeah, I think they've done it. Inhibitor will end up falling. Game will go over to Lost Nation. Never, I think...
Nah,
they
they're
just
not going for
decide
it.
against it. They just decide against it. I think they could have looked. Instead, they're backing off, looking to take this Baron. This game has been a slog. It's a hell of a way to throw it on a base race. So they choose not to.
Ash throwing the R down mid, delaying them walking out even longer. And Skarner 1v1ing the Baron. I did hear that he could do this, but it's nice seeing it for one. Very surprising to see it though. And yeah, this game is looking... Oh, GP going for the GA instead of his boots. Very interesting. 6-item GP.
Very, very
Full
interesting.
build coming out for many of these people and nearly all close to it.
The gold lead at this point in time is irrelevant. Totally irrelevant. Dragon, though, picked up Soul Point, goes over to Cosmic Transcendence. They were there first. But massive Karthus almost wipes out the entire team. Jon Vogel will be the sacrifice, but Play Massive will end up falling as well. Never mind, Jon Vogel makes their way out despite Mimi Slime almost one-shotting everyone. Look at how low those health bars are. Everyone in Cosmic Transcendence will make their way out. Oh wait, Chips is here to stop the recalls, stop the ports.
Oh,
much
Chips should
can
just
they
go in
find?
here, no? Oh,
They
wow,
can't,
he could
they
have punched
can't.
very hard.
Oh my gosh. What a nail biter. Soul is picked up here for Cosmic Transcendence. But Lost Nation are pushing in on this inhibitor. Here comes the Arcane... Arcane Barrage? Whatever. My brain, I can't know. I'm going to call it Ezreal. I can't remember bloody ability names. There are more important things at stake. Chips sectioned
getting
off from the
caught
rest of the team. Does get stunned up. Will get taken down. Fleeing at the moment. Rooted up. The shields are too much to maybe make him fall. Just about survives. Dodges out on that last little snipe. But Lost Nation forced to run for the hills. Mimi Slime getting poked down. Jon Vogel sees the angle, knocked back by Corwell, will be the sacrifice. The barrel is large by Fish, but not large enough. Arrow connects, ult comes through. Corwell survives, the healing from the passive is too much. In the end, Lost Nation find that pick for nothing from Cosmic Transcendence.
Yeah, it's not looking good here. If they can force this end here, it might be doable. If they get one good barrel or one good Karthus Q. But not looking good here. Oh, the Ezra.
As Kalitz, finally, Murtex is caught out. Jon Vogel kind of playing base defense 1v9, but with Murtex dead, I think this is it. Lost Nation, hard fought in game 4. Game 1 was a stop. Game 2 was a victory earned. And in this
Wow.
one, it was a bloody marathon. But despite Cosmic Transcendence's best efforts, Lost Nations will be the one advancing to the EAL Finals! Wow. What a... Boy.
Wow, that was a good set of games, honestly. That final game, I thought it was over, and they just proved me wrong in that.
Wow.
Just
I'm shocked.
wow. Wow, wow,
Oh,
wow.
It's just so sad. Lost Nation. Man, I gotta congratulate you, but I've also got to throw some commiserations on Cosmic Transcendence. You guys played your heart out. Game 3, Lord Pingu 1 versus 9. Game 4, you guys were so close to making it happen, but congratulations,
just an
Lost
unset.
Nation.
I feel like it's just very sad in terms of just getting so many kills, but not being able to get the turrets to compensate for it, and it just bit them back at the end there, sadly, and just got caught out a couple times, and that's what lost them.
And now, Lost Nation are going to be heading to face Invicta in the finals, who have been tearing through the other side of the bracket. I think we're going to have a quick interview with Fishtoll, aka Chips from Lost Nation, after having the most roller coaster series of their entire life, I think. We're going to be throwing it to a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just 2 minutes. Just very shortly. We're going to be back in just 2 minutes. I'm sorry. Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream, and we are joined by Fishtoll, and he's not on the screen, but he is here. Play Massive, victors of that game, which maybe I feel like we're all winners in the viewers portion, but congratulations you guys on getting that win. I've got first question for you. Were you nervous? Were you nervous at any point during that fourth game? Because I know I was.
Well, I was pretty tilted. At one point, I just saw Aatrox getting kills on bot lane, right? And I was like, yeah, this one is over. Go next.
Oh
I
yeah,
saw-
I was like at some point, should we just FF and stop going for the next game?
Yeah, but I don't know. Like somehow, I believe in the level 13 power spike. I know these guys can pull their weight on their champions, so we somehow managed to salvage that horrible early game.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of want to talk a little bit about your your top lane match, because it feels like you and Jon Vogel were maybe the main characters of this series, right? You guys duking it out back and forth. I mean, you obviously got the best of Jon Fobel in those first couple of games, but then afterwards, Jon Fobel
Yeah.
had some banger Aatrox games. I know you picked the Kled into it, and I know it's typically a known counter pick. Were you surprised at how effectively Jon Fobel could pilot the champion?
To be fair, I wasn't surprised. I know he's a good player, so I might have been a little surprised that he's actually this good, right? But yeah, I know he's a good player, and I was preparing mentally for this, like to face him.
Mm.
I managed to beat him online the first 2 games with the help of my jungler. God bless him. But yeah, the Kled game we don't talk about. And this game, yeah, that happened after 20-minute mark. We can talk about it. Yeah.
So I
Brilliant.
want to actually go on about the Aatrox pick a little bit. So I've heard that you're a little bit of an Aatrox player. Were you just genuinely surprised that I would even try to pick Aatrox into you? Were you like ready? Were you just ready for it, or it was just like anything special about it, or it was just is what it is as a pick?
I mean, Aatrox is a strong blind pick, right? One of the strongest in the game right now. I wasn't surprised when I saw it because it wouldn't be the first team to do this against us.
Yeah.
Or if somebody else did that, well, if CTR did that against us, they did it multiple times already in the last season. So I wasn't surprised. And
Okay.
that's why I like had my Kled pick, but didn't work out because me and Kled, we are not really friends. And the other Aatrox counter picks, yeah. So this game, actually, we thought they would pick Aatrox. At least I thought they would pick Aatrox this last game, and I was like, yeah, let me just suffer on GP, even if it's Aatrox favorite matchup, and I can somehow scale to that mid and late game, and then we can do stuff.
It's not much of a question, but I did want to credit how well you were dodging the Aatrox Qs and play that matchup, because I did understand it's a very punishing lane, that one. So you did very well in terms of just dodging the Aatrox Qs and just utilizing your movement speed and punishing, and that double kill top lane was phenomenal. Well played to that. And I just want to say,
Thank
very
you.
good play. Very, very well played in that matchup in general. Maybe it looked very rough at the beginning, but it was just genuinely well played. So well played to you.
I've just got a
thank
couple
you.
more questions. I've got questions more. There. I've got a couple more questions for you, Fischl.
Yep.
One,
Go ahead.
you are up against Invicta in the finals. What do you feel about them? How do you think it's going to go? I mean, obviously, you guys say you're going to win, but how do you feel about Invicta as a team?
The guys are coming from our group, so I'm a little bit more familiar with them than CTR. But I knew from the beginning of our group that this is probably the second or the strongest team from our group. So the real finals will actually be the finals.
And last of all, have you got? I know you've been a real part of the EAL for like a very long time, right? As long as
yeah,
longer
since
than
season
that,
1.
Longer than that, yeah, season 1. You've been real back. Have you got anything to say to everyone who watches, everyone who tunes in, everyone who supports your legacy, everything you've ever done? Do you have anything to say to them that you haven't already said?
Well, I got to know so many good people because of EAL, so I'm really happy I could be here with all of you and just witness the growth, the lows and the ups of EAL. And I was even here when it wasn't called EAL, it was called EDC before.
God, that's a real throwback. Well, thank you so very much for joining us on the interview, Fischl. And unfortunately, that's going to be all from us tonight. There's only one more EAL broadcast coming up. God, that's a shocker. It always catches up with you faster than you think. The end of the season, and I don't know when it is. Production, do we know when the finals are taking place? We'll find out in a second. As we see here, it's thank you very much. It's next week, in exactly 1 week, Invicta up against Lost Nation. This is a matchup to definitely keep an eye on. I know I'm going to be there. I hope I'm going to be on the desk. If not, I'll be in the chat. I'll catch you then. But apart from that, that's all we have for you all tonight. I've been Casual QC.
And this has been Clark.
And thank you so very much, everyone, for watching. We'll catch you in the finals in a week. Don't miss it. See you then.